Feels like I'm meant to strike. Flat earth beneath my feet, knowing I'm here to meet. Ocean's edge, it calls my name. Purpose in this life's game. Horizons line so clear, God's love brings me near. Flat earth made by him, my journey long yet thin. Purpose found in every day, guided by his gentle sway. Mountains tall, they stand in place.
Yo, Flows, what's up? It's good to see you guys. Glad you could make it. We are joined by a special guest tonight, the Drunk Debunk Show. How you going, dude?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Glad you could make it so we can have a bit of a discussion.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to tell everybody what you actually do, because I know you're quite a new channel.
Yeah.
And your channel's growing quite quickly, so that's a good thing.
It is, in light of the current events, but so I started as Mike Over IP. I still consider myself as Mike Over IP, who just runs the Drunk Debunk Show. But I started my show to be just Friday nights, just hanging out with friends, debunking ghost videos of all things. Can you give me 1 second?
No, no stress. Everybody, please hit the like, share the show. Good to see you.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I started just debunking ghost videos and just random videos, and then I started to get a little bit more into it. And I was like, okay, well let's like put a name on it, right? So we call it a Drunk Debunk Show, because like me and my buddy would be drinking, and then it was just Friday nights. That was the one night of the week that I would drink, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna create a separate entity for the Drunk Debunk Show, and I did. And then it just in a couple of months it just blew up. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's like
You guys
doing really well for you, but it seems that people like your format. So
yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Nothing's changed in the last 5 years that I've been streaming. I'm still me. So I just got found out. I guess it just takes some time.
Sometimes branding does that. Sometimes branding just attracts someone differently.
Yeah, this logo right here, this logo actually got me. I feel like because my last logo was so stupid. It was dumb. But then I was like, okay, let's go a little bit more minimalistic, and then I threw it up, and then boom, there we go. Branding's all how it is.
Oh man, so more on a more serious note, what do you want to talk about tonight specifically? Because we both have very different views.
We do. I just wanted to talk to you about like, I don't know. Like I watch a lot of your stuff, obviously. We do go over on the show some of your content, and it's just being of a different mindset, different upbringing, things like that. It's just very interesting to see where you and your panel come from, as far as what we take as evidence and what we do with that evidence, and then for specifically the final experiment, right? So the final experiment is a huge deal. Obviously, is getting a lot of traction, and from both sides. And I feel like it was designed to ruffle a lot of feathers, and that's exactly what it did. So what I wanted to talk to you about is I guess my main question would be, what exactly would it take for you specifically, not just you and your panel, but you to take the evidence that all the footage and whatnot, from all the cameras and what that was used down in Antarctica. What would it take for you to be convinced that it was actually all real footage?
Well, I think what would have sold it a bit better if they had the 24-hour live stream. I think that would have changed a lot. At the moment, I don't think there's really anything, because of all the deception that's been going on, and there is a way to fake it. And I've got a whole series coming out to show this. I do believe this is a spiritual thing. I do believe this is an attack specifically on biblical cosmology. and creation. So I don't know. Are you a creationist or
No,
evolutionist?
I am a God-fearing Catholic. I believe I have a belief in science, in evolution, things like that. But I also do believe that we do have a creator. And if we want to go into I know this is the first time we're meeting, but my religious beliefs go along the lines of God created this massive universe because that's just how powerful He is. And when new pictures come out from all these satellites of space and these telescopes that are showing just gorgeous things in space, it only solidifies my belief in a creator. So that's I see that what the space agencies are and even the amateur astronomers like my sister, right? She just got a sea star and she's been sending us some really cool stuff. Um, the more I see of that, the more I go, wow, that was created for us.
Yeah,
And
yeah. God created an awesome place. I mean, we can't. Nobody can deny it's created for a purpose. Though um, I've been a Christian most of my life as a globe as well, so I do see things a bit differently now.
Mhm,
But it does make it more clear to me why I see the heliocentric belief system as detrimental to the true creation of God, because I've seen a lot of Christians go to, for instance, college, and they end up becoming atheists afterwards because of the things they're taught there. You know what I mean? It does come down to a lot of, are you strong enough to be, how can I say, have a relationship with God afterwards or not? Because I think, I don't know about you, but I think the whole system, how it's primed, is against God and the creation. So uh, even when I was a globe, I understood this. That's why I knew it as the Great Deception and everything, and this with the UFOs and all this,
mhm.
because I do believe the UFOs are just demonic. It's all spiritual based on demons. So, because I don't believe there is an outer space, obviously,
Right.
but we do observe things with telescopes. I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah. I mean that's so I feel like I feel like you have a point with the system, the way it's set up, the education system is you go in a Catholic or a Christian, you come out an atheist. I feel like that's more of a like a personal kind of thing. Like for me, like I went to school, of course. So hear me out. I went to Catholic school my whole life, so I was being taught science. I was being taught religion. I'd go to science class and then I go read some passages from the Bible and then go take Holy Communion every Wednesday. So it's like I it was like I grew up with both,
Mm.
so that not everyone grows up going to Catholic schools and being and learning about both because in my science classes they'd be like, look at what our creator has done and what this it's and another thing that I feel is that God gave us the intelligence to build and make tools, right? And I feel like He gave us this intelligence to make these tools to be able to see His creation, to be able to appreciate everything that He has put together for us to explore and
Yeah,
to learn about.
yeah, no, I agree with you. But how do you, as a Catholic, reconcile, like, with the Book of Genesis? Because it obviously doesn't fit with what the heliocentric system is teaching. How do
Mhm.
you place that into your belief system?
That's placed into my belief system by um, the story of the creation is it how do I put this? It I believe that it didn't take days. I believe that days could be considered as a millennia, like millions of years. So one day is a couple million years. The second day, a couple million years. So that's how I look at it, right? I mean, I'm not a young Earth creationist, obviously, but I that's how I and of course, like if we look at other religions like Greek mythology, right? There was a god for everything that we didn't understand at the time, right? There's a god there's a sun god, there's a death god, there's an air god, there's an earth god, there's a god for literally everything that we didn't understand at a scientific level.
Yeah.
But my belief is that God gave us the intelligence to learn about his creation. So that's
Okay. Yeah, because if you had to look at like the heliocentric model, well, because you believe it's thousands or billions of years or whatever, that's fine. But how? Because the heliocentric model detects that the sun came 10 billion years before the Earth was even formed.
Mhm.
So how would you have a day? Because in the Bible, it's very specific. You had a day from day 1 to day 4, and day 4 is only when the sun was actually coming to fruition.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm okay with admitting that the Bible is that they could have been wrong when they wrote the Bible. You know, it's what I mean. If it comes down to man wrote the Bible, right? God didn't take a pen and start writing these pages. It was the word of God was transcribed through man to these pages, and
Yeah, it's fine.
yeah, so it's fine. Yeah, so they could be wrong, right? And that's one of the things that you have to learn to admit when you're being faced with undeniable evidence of things that contradict what these words say, and that's just
Yeah, and you see, that's how I disagree, though. I think the Bible is, because it's inspired by God, they wouldn't get it wrong. They wouldn't be lying. Just like Moses, Moses spoke directly face to face with God. And God told Moses how he created the heavens and the earth. So I don't know if Moses was just very illiterate that didn't understand what God was saying, or God lied or something. That's just something that doesn't make sense to me.
yeah. I mean, it can come down to it was a different type of understanding of reality back then, and those people, like in today's society, Moses would be the guy on the street corner of New York City saying all this stuff, right? Like, oh, I'm a prophet, I hear from God and stuff, and people would just brush him off, right? It was a like like in today's society, that's what it would be. I mean, the population right now is the population back then was a fraction of what it is now. So when people start talking about this stuff, I mean, they listen, and if people are scared, they want to hear something that will give them savior, and that's how I feel like these people got into the Bible was they were either crazy or they were actually hearing from God. But I mean, what we witness on a day to day, right? It's not all correct, which is something that I'm okay with, right? I'm not saying that God lied. I'm not saying that they lied. I'm just saying that they just didn't know.
Yeah, well, no, I get that because I've heard that a lot. People usually
Yeah.
like say Genesis is just allegory or poetic. You know what I mean? Well, I strongly disagree, though. But I mean, we're not going to be into a whole debate.
Yeah,
You're
no.
wrong, kind of thing. But yeah, it's just interesting to hear your take on things. That's why I'm just very, very interested to ask. Is there anything you want to ask, or?
Geez. When so you kind of gave a little bit of your background. How long ago have you believed in the flat Earth? Like, well, you said you were a glober before, but then
I came into it in 2017. I started on Facebook for about 2-3 years, and I ended up leaving it because there was I had actually a stalker that I had to actually get a court case against. So it was a bit thing, but so that's why I moved over to YouTube, and I've been on here ever since. So
nice.
that's quite clear.
Yeah, I also started on Facebook, but Facebook sucks.
It's quite crazy. You get some weirdos there.
Yeah, I did get some weirdos in my because I was gaming at the time, and there's weirdos in my chat that were like because my daughter I play games with my daughter on stream, and she was like 8 or 9. They'd be like, "Oh, hey, how's your daughter doing?" Like, bro,
Yeah, what are you
nope. No, I'm done. I'm done here. I'm done here. But that's not the reason why I left Facebook. But that was a supporting time. but yeah, so that's cool. All right. Well, so I guess okay. I had a whole lot of things that I wanted to say or ask, but of course I didn't write them down, and with the thought of, oh, I'll remember it. So yeah, I've been watching a lot of your videos. Actually, let's do you mind if we talk about your most recent video that you just put up?
Go ahead. The one that came out today.
Yeah, I watched that this morning when I woke up. It was interesting, right? It was interesting. The whole station was all redesigned in the Unreal Engine. It was actually pretty cool how they overlaid it and all that kind of stuff. However, what I want to talk about is if that, how do I put it? That would only be the viewpoint of one camera, right? So there were many cameras, right? 5 or 6 cameras. So I could see how that would be plausible. However, the people moving in the shot, the just the overall look of it. I mean, there's a difference between CGI through Unreal Engine and reality, right? In real life. In CGI, you don't get the lens flares, right? You don't get the imperfections with the thumbprints, the fingerprints, all that kind of stuff. You can't reenact the footprints unless you really go in and really hard code it. There's a lot of holes in that plausible scenario, right? Along with, there were 5 other cameras or 6 other cameras that were recording at the same time the same thing, but from different viewpoints. So that would be it would all have to be faked all at the same time with all these different renderings. So what do you say about that?
Well, the thing is, because they created HDR environments, they're able to have the same file loaded on. Remember, each person is separately loading their videos up.
Mm-hmm.
So they already have the HDR environment set up in Unreal Engine. And the lens flares and atmospheric conditions for the sun, gaze and everything is easily done in Unreal Engine. And you're able to put different focal points with more than one camera as well. So they're able to link all 5 cameras together in that 3D environment to give the different viewpoints if they wanted to. Also, the snow footprints, you have actually plugins for that as well that give real-time snow foot sounds and interactions with the snow around them. Like I said, I think they did go. The first time it was probably Will Duffy and McToon that went to there earlier. That's why I said, look how young they look. It doesn't gel there. That's 4 days difference. It looked like they went there before, and they probably went to scope out and take their HDR imaging, the high definition rendering, so they could put it into Unreal Engine, which give them more than enough time. A couple of months is more than enough time to create a 3D environment. When they get in December, they actually do go to Antarctica, but because they have this already set up in Unreal, they're able to have the fake sun for their rendering. So they use the environment, which is already 3D created. And I'm busy working on a video right now where I'm showing you can literally do this in your back room with a phone. I can literally make it look like I'm in the ISS right now, showing up, down, left, right, looks like I'm moving everywhere. And I'm literally just in front of a green screen.
So, okay. Yeah, I saw there's I don't know if you watch any tech YouTube channels like
I love tech channels.
Yeah, like Linus Tech Tips and the gaming show they have. They actually showed how they made that background, and it's with a green screen. It's all done in Unreal Engine, and when you move the camera around, the whole background moves along with it because it's all rendering in real time. However, again, that requires just one camera, right? So with the let's use the drone footage. Where's Wally? He provided a stitched video of all the different cameras. MC2 was live streaming it. We had Dave McKeegan was filming it. The Will Duffy was live streaming it, and all these, we had all these camera angles during this drone situation, and so for that all to be rendered with green screen in the background, that would require an insane amount of computing power.
No, I don't think you understand. That's really done. The drone can be done easily. They can go up and like I said, they were really there. Okay. They've never showed a 24-hour sun. You can do in post-production, you can show the sun in a certain position. You can even have a filter that does give the sun in a certain position as well. It doesn't literally make it there. So even if they linked McToon's video with Jaren's video and Duffy's video and stuff, they are still able to render that sun in real time with a filter to say it's at the position, even though they're at different things. Like I said, because you have an Unreal environment set up, I don't know if you in Unreal, you can literally change camera angles. You can set positions for that camera. So they can literally each have their position set with their camera already, which gives the default of where the sun should be. So in real time, it can make an overlay. It's like augmented reality.
Okay.
But they could literally be there. There's no green screen. It's just the sky itself is just chroma keyed out because it is layered on in Unreal.
So one thing, so really quick, I have something to bring up really quick that I totally forgot. The picture of MC Toon and Duffy from that content creator.
Yeah.
So he's a content creator, right? He was posting on TikTok, and I was actually showing my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, that picture, and I was like, what do you think of this? Like, why like, here's a picture, because it was on your review of Sean's debate. So, and you put the pictures right next to each other. I was like, so what do you think, like, if this was taken 2 days before or 3 days before, what do you think the difference would be? Like, why would they look a little younger? And she goes, oh, well, all my friends use the smoothing filter. Like, oh, my 14-year-old daughter just debunked that entire claim.
Not actually. You can use filters, but how do you know which phone, if they use the phone or if they use the camera, and did they use filters or not?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be something that, someone who's saying that
it's a possibility
would need
to. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's not a possibility. They could have had filters and stuff, but that is kind of like a cop out to say, okay, this is why they look younger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, what you say about it could be a cop out too, but I mean, whatever.
I'm just pointing out that it looks fishy. That's all I'm doing.
I'm
not saying that is true. I'm just saying, to me, this looks very unrealistic. You know what I mean? It just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
And the fact is that even Dave McKeegan was with him, and he didn't have a photo of this guy.
Oh, I have Andy in chat. He said it's because the Fountain of Youth is in Antarctica.
Well, they looked older when they came back, so it must be a very bad Fountain of Youth.
Listen, that goes along with the presidency, right? Mm-hmm. After 4 years, you go like look at Obama, for instance, really quick on that. He went in looking like a 24-year-old. He came out looking like he was 72 years old. That kind of stress can get on you, right? But anywho, whatever. I digress. So on the Unreal Engine thing, so with those 24-hour time lapses, they did also have 24-hour real time recordings of those that they turn into time lapses or whatever. They all capture all of the live streams that were done when the sun was to the east, south, north, and west, right? So at all times of the days, those cameras are capturing all of those live streams as well with the sun in the respective location. So what that would require is that all those live streams would also have to have that rendering, which again, you have to understand. I have a 3070 Ti, right? A 5950X CPU on my streaming, on my gaming computer, right? That couldn't handle it, right? This is a beast of a machine that wouldn't be able to handle all of that rendering.
Well, what kind of computer do you think they use at sports events?
They have massive computers at sports events.
Not really. If they just do, for instance, a rugby game and they got those overlays on, because that's exactly what it is. It could just be an overlay filter, augmented reality. You don't need a strong PC to do it. It's just an overlay that is just computed to give a rendering, you can say, in real time. There is no needing really to have a strong CPU to do that.
I mean, augmented reality is one thing. My phone can do that, right? Any phone since the iPhone 10 can do that.
Yeah, that's my point.
Right, but that's augmented reality. This is rendering an entire 3D environment that requires, and if it's all being rendered in real time during all these live streams and all that, to all these cameras, I mean, that's an insane.
Just the sun is being positioned using the overlay. That's what I said. When they're doing the live streams, all they need is the overlay of the sun and its position. They don't need anything more than that. The CPU just needs to concentrate on the live stream, which they were exactly in Antarctica, and the overlay of the sun. So they were able to still fake that in live time, and it doesn't take that much CPU stress. What I'm saying is when they did like the 360 camera and stuff, they are able to fake it because they're able to pre-push the faked 3D rendering already in there. Dave McKeegan is still waiting for the video where I'm trying to explain how you are able to fake 360 footage, which I'm going to do soon. But yeah, you can easily do it by re-uploading images back onto the Insta. So you are able to unload and upload. So you can literally upload Mars to your Insta360 and say, look, I took it live.
It's what you're not wrong, right? That you can do that. I have two statements on that. Saying you can do it doesn't mean that that's what was done, right? However, what was the second? Hold on, give me a second. I have like my kids talking like in the background. Like I have so much noise happening that you can't hear. But shit, what was I gonna say? So I mean that it would all have to be. What was I? Oh my god, dude. All right, let's just go on because I have to
again say I'm not saying this is how it's done. I'm saying it's a possibility how to me it looks like it could be done. It's just one of the ideas, because to me it still looks faked, and I give my reasons for that. I'm not saying it is 100% faked, just to give a background towards it.
Yeah. So that's that makes sense, but I just honestly what really validates it for me is the I was right. The second point was what does it for me is is that all of those live streams are filmed from those external cameras during the time lapses and all that kind of stuff. So like that's what sells it for me is like you can't. But okay, but beyond that, it's just and the imperfections of the lenses of the cuts between the stitching, right? Yeah. All those things, those validate it for me as well. Because if it was perfect without those lens flares, without the sun looking like it's stretching or popping from one place to another, depending on the camera, because there's a ton of cameras that all capture the same thing at the same time. I mean, if it was all a rendering that was all the same rendering, just at different vantage points, they would have to make those inconsistencies, render those specific for each one of the cameras.
That's where Unreal comes in. That's what I say. Unreal is able to map it out and change it because it's got all those settings to change for ray tracing and shadows and perspective and distancing. So it's able to do that in real time and create a filter to be able to. So we all know Mactoon is also able to write programs if he really wants to. So it's possible.
I mean, he writes spam detection
yeah,
stuff.
but I mean, Notepad. I can take Notepad and I can quickly write your HTML code and do a web page for you in like 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Just the basic one saying, "Hi, this is Flatzoid" or whatever. He can do that too. But you can literally even use AI today to make you a quick filter program that you can able to load onto your PC that gives a filter as the sun doing those things if you wanted to. You just need the position and the set parameters. You don't need really much more than just to understand how it functions. That's it. So that's why I said it's very easy, plausible to fake it, even though they got multiple cameras, because those multiple cameras all are based on the same network of foundation that they gave for the position of the sun.
Yeah. And what, yeah, but I understand what you're saying, right? I'm not just saying nah, right? Because that's not how I do. What I'm saying is for that to work, it would have to be because each camera has their own imperfections, they each have their own thing, but they were all filming the exact same thing. So again, I mean, yeah, you could throw in a quick filter for each camera, but all they did was set up a camera, hit record, put their batteries in their left boots, and just call it a day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What are your thoughts about all the Masonic signs and everything?
I think it's all just garbage. Come on, fucking Nico was like, "Oh, Mike has a brick background. That means he's a Mason, right?" Like, come on, I've never even met a Mason. If I have, then I don't even know. So actually, what I'm going to be doing is this is actually just an AI image. I was like, give me a brick wall with gold paint spattered on it because you can see my little gold little stuff, my accents, whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually paint a giant 33 on my wall right here. Whatever, just to kind of poke fun at
Blue and a
Nico.
red one. Yeah, but you see, the thing is why everybody's so skeptic about it is because these guys specifically got, and it just keeps having more and more occurrences with symbolism. It's a different thing to say, yeah, okay, I didn't know this was symbolism for it, but if it keeps happening and keeps happening, people get skeptic about it. You know, it's like, is it really just a coincidence? How many coincidences can you have before it's like, this is God telling the truth? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like there's I mean, you could find coincidences like let's look at like how long has the Masons been around for? Since at least George Washington, right? In 1700s.
Before
Yeah.
it actually started with in the King of Solomon's time.
So that's a long time to make a lot of rituals, right? Let's look at the TV show The Simpsons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you could look at The Simpsons and be like, holy crap, this is like this is prophetic. Like we can tell the future based off of these episodes, right? And there's a lot of the stuff lines up, right? And it's crazy, but obviously there's no connection to it, right? There's a lot of consistencies that go with The Simpsons can tell the future, but it's just coincidence.
But even that, there is a way to have a planned future, you could say, where they are able to more or less plan things in advance because they're writing a show, you know, in a script. So they could be using The Simpsons as a script teller, and they're just playing the future events based on that, and they're fabricating future events based on that so it can come to pass. Even that's possible, because even The Simpsons have been shown to have Masonic roots. Yeah, it's weird, eh?
Yeah,
I mean, NASA. I mean, think about even NASA. What has Aleister Crowley got to do with the origins of NASA?
Nothing. He was dead.
No, actually, he does.
Because he was a Mason?
Yeah, no, he wasn't a Mason. He was a Satanist.
Yeah.
But he's how can I say it? His young Padawan he was the guy that did all the rocketry for NASA, and he was also big into Satanism, and that was the link for Aleister Crowley to NASA. So it's weird. There's a lot of things that NASA did, and I'm just saying NASA because that's the main space agency.
Yeah, I mean,
Other space agencies too. That's one thing that does irritate me about FE though. They all just go NASA, NASA. They don't really worry about ESA or you know what I mean. There's a lot of other space agencies.
I appreciate that we align on that.
But yeah, with NASA specifically, the origins is very dodgy. I mean, it has Disney involved. It has Satanism's involved. It has ex Nazis involved. You know, things like that. So why do you trust anything they bring up? In other words, I mean, even today, how much VFX studios?
What was that?
Even today, how many VFX studios does NASA own?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, and those would be for, obviously simulation, right? Because let's look at really quick. Let's look at how disappointing NASA is versus SpaceX, right? SpaceX gets their hands dirty, right? They do their simulations, but then they shoot their stuff up and then it explodes, right? That's their simulation. NASA will spend 20 years on one simulation, right? For instance, the what's the mission going back to the moon? Artemis. Right?
Artemis. They responded again.
Yeah, because they can't get their simulations to work right. It's insane. Like it's just really disappointing that they just keep postponing these really cool things. But SpaceX, somehow Elon Musk can afford to shoot stuff up and have it explode. But anyway.
Well, what are your thoughts? I don't know if you knew this, but NASA, they started out actually doing deep sea exploration.
Really?
They were actually deep sea. They actually had a famous experiment that they did where they tried to make dolphins communicate. And they actually got a woman that fell in love with some of the dolphins that she would literally jerk them off every day. Yeah. It's it's crazy stuff like that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How do you apply for that job? Right?
I don't know, but
we need a dolphin jerk offer, please. Okay.
But it's
what's
weird
the
history
salary?
it's weird history like that. You're like, what's going on? This is just a joke.
Fucking hilarious. Holy crap. That was the CIA. Max said it was a CIA. But I mean, this is still freaking hilarious. Well,
Yeah,
and the thing is, it's crazy because we know more about our immediate space than we know about our ocean. So that's kind of cool. That
crazy,
if they're exploring the our oceans, that's really cool. Because we just don't need anything like. Have you seen those movies where you break the ice and then this virus comes out and kills everybody? Yeah, we don't need any of that. Leave that there. It's down there for a reason.
Yeah, I think the oceans is a scary thing. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that have undiscovered, and even in like Antarctica, the ice and stuff, there's probably a few diseases and type of things that they are scared to dig up. You don't know.
Yep, it's like leave it there, man. Leave it there. I Godzilla's actually buried down there, and with who's that bad Transformer guy?
Megatron.
Yeah, Megatron.
He's got the All-Star. What? Oh man.
Yeah. So I mean, that's my view on that video. It was really cool. Actually, one thing that I was actually I was wanting was a view of just the Unreal part, the footage, not overlaid, right? Because it was like the opacity was put over.
Oh yeah, that was Heath Comedy's video. You should actually go. You know who Heath Comet is?
No, I don't actually.
Let me get his. He does. He's even done the footage in Unreal with the drone as well.
Oh, cool. All right.
Because I'm just waiting to get my new hard drive so I have more space to be able to put Unreal Engine on this PC.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have enough space, unfortunately. But there we go. There's his link, so you can always go and contact him. He's a nice guy. I mean, he'll even do other things for you if you ask him to do it for you.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah, I would love to. Heath Carmody. All right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
almost
nice.
1,000 subs. That's good. Huh?
Yeah. He's still got a small channel, but he does some good work.
Listen, man, I just hit over 1,000 subs. That's not small. That's
Let's put it this way: it's the hardest. The hardest point is to get to 1,000 subs. It's always the hardest. After that,
Yeah.
it gets much better.
yeah.
And I'm almost at 5K now. I was like, what?
Yeah,
I grew more in this last 3 months than I have in the whole year, practically. So
yeah, the topic is hot. The topic is hot. Like I was debunking chemtrails and ghosts and the moon landing hoax and all that kind of stuff. And then when the final experiment was announced, I was like, oh, well, here we go. this is gonna be a show for sure. But but yeah, it's just crazy the response to the final experiment. And I find it as like kind of like a social experiment, you know, like this is something that could be so detrimental to a person's thought process and their upbringing and their beliefs. You know, what would they do if they were slapped with this in their face? Which I actually wanted to ask you. God damn it, the question just went away from my head, dude. Oh my god. Like I read 2 words of chat and then my whole thought process changed. What so you say that the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, whether it be true or not, does not determine the shape of the earth, right?
no,
Right.
it doesn't change anything. The only thing I'm concentrating on is the deception. And what I'm seeing so far is it doesn't seem that it's real, but like I said, it won't change whether the earth is flat or not. It still keeps with biblical scripture as well, because as I was saying before, to me it looks like this is a spiritual attack on the Bible specifically. And this is why I do see the separation in the flat earth community itself, where you get people with this infighting, you could say, because I've been seeing literally drawn a line in the sand, like biblical earthers against new age numpties kind of thing. So you get some cuckoo people, let's put it this way, from the globe and the flat earth side. And I do believe that there's some good about this TFE as well, which is literally separating the wheat from the tares. It's showing the people who are fake to the people who are true as well. So I do say that's a good thing.
That's fair. So which brings me to our next question. Why is it so important to you and your community that it was faked?
No, it's not important. Like I said, it just seems that way. So we're going to call it out because flat earthers in general are skeptic. And if you see something that doesn't make sense, you're going to call it out. So it's not about the sun being there or not. It's all about, hey, they lied about this. They lied about this. And I'm all for showing, I don't think it really happened, because to me, that's the evidence that's presented to me so far. And that's why I enjoyed the chat with Dave McKeegan, because he actually gave me more information through him than I did with damn Witsit that didn't want to just shut up and be rude and lie constantly. You know what I mean? If you couldn't get that from your own side.
Like, honestly, I defended, I put out a lot, like 1 or 2 videos of me defending Witsit with the vape gate. I felt dirty and betrayed. Like, I mean, I knew that Witsit is a liar, right? Like that's his thing. That's his shtick. But then I was like, maybe this made him a better person. You know, I believed it when he said, "Oh, I didn't vape. Oh, I didn't fake my breath. Whatever." Right? And like I hate to agree with Sav, but he said, "I don't care if he lied to appease his audience, right? I don't care if he lied because he wanted to hide this from his wife. It doesn't matter, right? All it shows is that there's deception." And so here's my thought on that. Witsit from the beginning had no interest in going. The only reason why he was going to go was because Jaren said, "Hey, I'm not going unless another flat earther is going." So Will Duffy was like, "Okay, well, who's next on the list?" Okay, it's Witsit. He got 3rd place, right? So is it cool if we ask Witsit to go? And then he goes, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Witsit himself admits that he forgot about it for months. all while like David Keegan, MC Toon, Jaren, all these people were gearing up, getting ready to go, you know, and so I feel like he went because his parents were dragging him to church. Like that's what I felt like was happening. Like he had no interest in actually going. He had no interest in providing any kind of truth. So much that he would lie about his goddamn breath on camera. Like like there's some
But that's what I say to him. Okay, you were caught out lying. Just admit it. Say, yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I was under pressure. I did it for these reasons. And then it's all forgiven. You know what I mean? People say, okay, you all make mistakes. We all do. And we move on. But the fact is, he just doesn't do that. He does what Whitsitt carries on doing, acting as the victim and just lying further and getting caught up with more lies.
Yeah, there's a theory that he actually tried to sabotage the whole thing from the beginning, right? Like he just didn't care. So he cared so little about what was happening, was that he was like, I don't care if I sabotage this. Like that's like Will Duffy put so much effort into making sure everyone had a GPS on them. Everybody, like from the moment they left their house, they had a GPS on them so that they could be tracked to say, okay, this is where we're going. Everything was documented. Everything was there was video of everything. There's everything. Like he worked so hard for Whitsitt to then lie about his freaking breath on stream. And so my point on this is there was deception on Whitsitt's end. That's just who he is. That should not, this is my point here, it should not discredit the entire experience.
But you see, that's the thing. It's not just that. It's from the get-go, Will Duffy already started this whole thing off with deception. And then when he even tried to apologize to Sean from King and Context, he lied on there as well. You know what I mean? And I think what put the icing on the cake was when the people found his sermon teaching that the Bible says it's fine to be deceptive, which totally goes against anything the Bible says anyway. But the point is, yeah, me as a Christian, even if I was formally invited and they said, okay, you're going to go, I wouldn't be able to take part because I know as a Christian, I can't take in deceptive practices. So I wouldn't be able to go. So it gives a big red flag to like, yeah, well, if Whitsitt's lying and we're seeing all these things and the guy who literally made this up is lying and saying it's okay to lie, why should we trust anything presented by anybody on there?
Yeah. I actually never looked into that sermon. Do we know when he said all that?
It was literally when he started. It was a year ago, just when he started talking about the final experiment thing. We actually showed a stream the other night going through some of it.
So obviously that topic has been brought up a few times, and I've seen all the reasoning behind it. You know, it's the, you know, if a serial killer comes to your house and asks where's your wife, you say she's not here, right? You know, that's the general. What is your response to saying what he was actually meaning was X?
Well, the thing is, when it comes to deception, a deception has a very specific intent. And to, for instance, protect your wife from a serial killer, which you're protecting yourself probably as well, is not an intent to deceive. It's an intent to protect. So it's not deception. Remember, when it comes to the Bible, God reads your heart. He reads your intent. He's not going to say, oh, you lied to this guy that's literally causing harm. You know what I mean? So that's not a lie. You have to answer for it because obviously you lied, but God forgives you. That's why we are under grace. God died for our sins and he gives us grace. So we are able to be forgiven for that. But it's about the intent. It's not about the action.
All right.
It's the same as let's say you do between murder and killing. Killing can be unintentional. Murder is intentional because it's with intent. That's the same with deception. It's intent to be deceptive.
Have you seen the movie Hereditary? It's a horror movie.
No.
That reminded me because we actually had to explain the difference between murdering and killing to one of my kids because someone gets killed, not murdered, right?
Yeah,
So I was going to use that as an example for
that's
understanding what
difficult
you're
to
saying.
do that with children.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I guess that's the same answer that I've heard on your show before. So Sav mentioned at one point that he when he called ALE that he was planning on getting a group of people together to go down. Is that true? Are you guys going to do that?
Yes, he phoned them live because he wanted to
Mhm.
find out bookings and times and everything, and they gave him an actual package, which showed the times and stuff, which would be the same times as Duffy and them were given, and it was supposed to they come back on the 17th. And Duffin said, no, they're supposed to come back on the 18th. But even on the itinerary, it shows 17. So it's like, it doesn't add up. You're saying an extra day, which doesn't make, it doesn't add up to what the itinerary was given. And the thing which Solv is also bringing up is, you're already back a day in Punta Arenas. What did you do that day? Dave just said, no, they rested. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, what did they really do? Probably a lot of editing. But,
yeah, I can't imagine much editing was done by Dave McKeegan, that's for sure. After 43 hours of no sleep. What? So the itinerary, was that for 2025 or for this past one that already passed?
It was for 2025, but it still showed 2024 on when you were looking at live on our streams as well. It still showed full books, flight paths, and every bookings and everything. So it showed exactly the same dates actually.
So it showed the 14th to the 17th for 2024.
Yeah. And then the other thing that everybody was also saying that didn't make sense was when we were watching the live streams, the weather reports were not adding the same. The weather reports didn't show perfect to what was going on in the live stream. That is also a red flag. Would you have any idea on that?
I haven't looked into that. You can. So what we did see was what's his name? Peter Markley. He put up a video of being able to see the location of
On the Hawaii satellite or something.
Yeah, and you can see that there were clear skies down there at the Union Glacier the whole time they were there.
Well, flat earthers that's fake, bro. It's in a space that violates natural law. So
I forgot about that. My bad.
So it's going to be difficult to convince any flat earther that is actual photos. You know what I mean? For you guys, because you believe it's real, it's like, that's cool. But with us, it's cool. Like, first proof to us that things in a place that violates natural law.
L1, man, 1 million miles out. It's the perfect resting space for gravitational pull from the Earth and the Sun. It's insanely mapped out. Really cool stuff. Well, cool. I mean, it's been an hour. Do we want to get the rest of the panel?
Yeah. So I'm asking if they want to come in now, because I think you also got some questions you want to ask them.
I mean, I really had just questions for you. I'm not gonna lie. I have a very, very big disdain for a lot of people on your panel, but I'll behave. Anybody who calls somebody who's not a chomo, yeah, I get a little irked with that. But I'm not gonna bring it up. We're gonna keep it nice and civil. Let me see if I have any. I have a lot of super chats here. Do you mind if I take a minute and read my super chats?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. All right. Oh my God, Jesus, guys. All right. I am Raven with one gifted membership. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sean Hawkins for $2 says, will he have a university peer review RDD?
I can actually do something like that. I was thinking actually to do up a dissertation sometime and actually send it and see how it would go.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's a plan in future I'd love to do. Okay. Because even this year I'm planning on doing what I call the Cavendish 2.0.
Ooh, all right.
So I've got some exciting things planned for this year.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, you'll know that I'll have a close eye on that. A-Base for $5 says the fake story is intellectual weak sauce to cover over the fact that flat Earth turned up nothing, has nothing, and will leave with nothing.
Well, you see, that's where we can play it on the other side and say they found it sunk, so they had to fake it.
Yeah, there you go. A-Base for another $2 says faking is just one of the ideas. More weak sauce.
It is just one of the ideas. I mean, let's put it this way: we take the evidence what's provided. You can't, with 100 possibilities, say that is true. It's just evidence. It's not proof. You understand? What's up, Roger?
How's it going?
Hello, Roger. How are you?
I hope I don't cause too
And
much
Soft in the
disdain
house.
for you.
Woo-hoo.
And there's
there
Soft
he
there.
is.
Speak of the devil.
There he is.
Speak of the devil, what?
The irony.
Oh, I like the
He's been
inferred.
brought up a
there.
couple of times, man. That's why I said speak of the devil.
Oh yeah, I've been
Devil.
watching. I've been in the front room with my wife watching on the TV. There's no way to chat on the TV.
But I have to say, Mike, as a guy, I think you're awesome, man. I think we can have an awesome
thanks.
discussion.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Yeah, I'm not. I don't like confrontation too much. It's just in my nature. But I do like to convey information and things like that in a very Peter Markley kind of way. But I'm not as smart as him by any means. But
I got a question for you, though. I got
yeah.
a question for you. Are Christian flat earthers an embarrassment to all Christians?
Are Christian flat earthers an embarrassment to all Christians? I don't listen. There I find that's a very specific.
You put me in a corner. Stop it.
No, so here's the thing. I find that okay, so no offense to the panel and the people who are now surrounding me, not physically but virtually. I find this flat earth just disappointing to humanity itself, right? Because it's going backwards. You know, humanity is going backwards. The more science denial there is, the more that this grows, if it is growing, the more detrimental it is to us moving forward as a species. So
can I just say, if you've got a disdain for me, I don't know why. I know I heard you saying that, but I would never call anybody a chumo without any evidence, for sure.
all right, perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. No, I wasn't referring to you with that.
Okay,
but,
cool.
And I want to know
There's
where
only-
we
there's
deny
only one person
science.
here.
That's one question for you. Why do you think we deny science? What about science that we deny?
well,
Don't
you think
understand
that the
that at
Earth
all.
is flat?
It has nothing to do with science, sir.
It does. It 100%
No, it
does.
doesn't.
So what
Explain
field of
that to me.
science does it not have anything to do with?
Well,
Science has everything to do with it.
It defies. Listen, this is what cracks me up right here. Is I was just talking to somebody on Facebook about this. Right? We have a working model of the heliocentric model. No, you don't. It's dead from its inception. Okay. Let's start with the foundational cornerstone of your heliocentric model. Can you demonstrate a ball or a mass of helium and hydrogen, or any gas for that matter, coalescing into a mass for any reason outside of containment?
Yes,
This
we
is totally
witness
against gas behavior. And
we
so,
witness it every day.
well, no, we don't. That's a story. That would be like saying, well, we know Narnia exists because we saw the kids go through the closet, right?
We have literally seen stars being born.
Wait a minute. No, you have not seen. What are they, though? What
They're
are they?
they're balls of gas
How
that are
can you have a ball of gas?
because gravity pulls it all into a sphere.
No, where it's not. Then show. How can you? Gas doesn't have gravity. The nature of
It's a
gas
mass.
is to expand to fill the empty space. It does not a cohesive mass because the molecules don't join together.
Okay, so
Come on.
what
there's no way that
gas
you could
what
ever-
gas are you referring to here? Are you talking about like helium and you know the
Any
nitrogen
gas.
and
Nitrogen?
Pick any gas or mixture of gas. The nature of gas behavior is not to coalesce into a cohesive mass. It does not
Why?
do that. The only way to have a specific volume of a gas is through containment.
Containment.
But if
Physical
there's
containment.
wait, well, no, that's not.
Yeah.
So the containment is the gravity. Like
There is no gravity in
gas
it.
has
What gravity?
gas has
Wait,
okay. So
wait,
gas
what
has mass.
gravity? Wait,
So
what gravity?
imagine a gas cloud bigger than our sun, right?
Huh?
Now
It's not going to
imagine
remove
how
the
much
cloud. Where's
mass
it at?
there
What-
is in a
Wait, where is it at? Where is
in
it
space.
at? In space. What is space?
Space is a vast emptiness,
Right, a deprivation of matter. Right.
right? But there's
Okay,
a lot of
all right,
matter in
all right.
it, like
So
gases
the nature of
and
gas. Hold on. The nature of a gas is to expand and fill the empty space. Can you demonstrate otherwise?
yes.
Where?
we
No, not
watched
No, no.
stars be born.
Pointing at the sky and telling me a story. Where is the science behind it? This is what the problem is.
There's plenty of science behind it.
What?
We witness
Okay.
it, we observe it, we create a hypothesis, and
All
then we
right,
test
all
it.
right. All right, so now we have to test the hypothesis. And the
Yes, by
hypothesis-
observing it. Yes.
No, by testing it. Wait, what's funny about that? You have to test the hypothesis.
What do you mean? What's funny about that? That grown man is telling me that you can't test something by observing it in space. So what do you want me to
Well,
do?
of
You want
course
us to
you
create?
can't.
No,
How
stop.
did you-
Stop.
wait, how do
So
you
you want us?
modulate- how
Do you want us to
modulate- how do you
create a
modulate any
star on
variable?
the Earth, dude? Is that
How
what?
do
Is that
you-
what?
No, all you have to do
you want
is
us to create
show-
a star on the Earth?
Wait a second. Everything you just said was through assumption based on an observation with a story made up of it. Okay. The hypothesis has to be tested. You can't test it merely through observation. To test it, you have to put it to the control and modulation of various variables. Okay. You don't have any of that. You're looking at the sky, you're seeing something happen, and then you're making up a story about what you think is happening without any basis in reality
Yeah, it's
to
called a
support
prediction.
that. Mainly of which would
No,
be
you don't understand what a prediction
gas
is. Steve.
cannot,
Yeah,
the
that you
gas
make-
cannot, nor will it ever congeal into a mass outside of containment. Gas molecules do not bond to one another.
Why?
This is why
What
they
are you talking
expand.
about?
What do you mean? What am I
This
talking
is-
about?
So think of a scale
So
larger
make
than
a
you can
ball of-
possibly
make a ball of
imagine.
air. It's that simple. Make a ball of air. Make a cube of air. You can't do it. Gas has
There's one
no
right here.
specific-
There's one right here. There's here. Let me open this bottle. Guess what? There's air in here. I'm gonna empty out the air.
I understand.
Right,
Go-
there's air. There's air
What
everywhere.
shape is it?
There's
What
gas.
shape? What shape is it?
What do you mean? What shape
What
it is?
shape is the air?
Well, I mean, if you want to, I mean, it's spherical because
Well,
it's
is
the
it?
atmosphere goes
Is
around.
it?
the sphere.
Spherical? Wait, inside the bottle, the air is shaped like the bottle.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. But it won't be shaped like the bottle if it's not in the bottle, will it? It doesn't have a shape because it's a fluid.
Okay,
Fluids
so
don't have no. Fluids do not have shapes.
right.
No,
So
we don't.
Okay, so there you cannot. Why is that? Because the molecules are not bonded to one another. Therefore, due to perfect elastic collisions, they expand to fill the available space.
okay, so let me blow your mind here real quick. What I need you to do is think of a gas cloud that is larger than our solar system. Can you imagine something like that?
Why? Yeah, sure. Why would the size be? Well, how big is our solar system, and how would you know that? There's
Well,
another problem.
It's millions of miles wide, but so
Well, how
here's
do you know that?
here's the thing. Because it's been measured, man.
I know you
Like,
can't measure it.
we've
How
sent
did you
probes
measure?
out.
Wait,
We've sent
how did you measure it? How did you
Okay,
measure?
so here's how this is going right now, Soph. I say we sent probes out to every single one of our planets in our solar system, including the sun, to study and measure them. Okay, that's how we know. What you're going to say
Wait,
is
wait.
nuh-uh, because space doesn't exist.
No, wait a
Right?
second.
So you can throw all of that
Well, it's gonna go
actual
like-
evidence away in that data just by
Okay, well,
saying,
yeah, I can.
nuh-uh,
I'll tell you
space doesn't
why.
exist. So go ahead.
I can, and I'll tell you why. We're right back to the same problem again. with your ball of gas. How is the Earth a closed or an open system?
It's a oh god, it's an open system.
Then we'd be dead.
No, we wouldn't, because gravity
Yes.
is holding the gas to the
Do
Earth.
you have any? No, wait a second. There's your problem too.
What's my problem?
Do you have any citation of an experiment or any demonstration outside of pointing at the sky and telling a story that gravity, if it existed, has any effect on the behavior of gas?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, the air pressure gradient.
No, I said without pointing at the sky and making
I'm not
up
pointing
a
at the
story.
sky. I'm not pointing at the sky. That's here. We
All right,
witnessed air pressure gradient.
we have an air pressure gradient. Now prove
Yes.
that air pressure gradient is due to gravity and not due to the factors of dispersal area, temperature, and compositional makeup being three fundamental variables.
Okay, so what you want me to do is prove gravity.
No,
Prove gravity exists.
I want you to
pressure
prove-
gradient.
No, let's assume gravity does exist. Now prove that it has an effect on gas behavior.
Okay. There we go. Proved it. Like, what do you mean that
No,
has
you
an
didn't.
effect on gravity on air? There's air pressure gradients.
Yes,
There's
of
your
course
proof.
there is. Yes. Now,
So-
do
so
you
what-
have any
what-
proof that what? Now you've made a claim for the causation of that gradient,
Yes.
haven't you?
It's
Okay.
gravity.
Okay, then you must prove that gravity has an effect on gases, because that's your hypothesis. You assume that because we have a pressure gradient that it's due to gravity. Therefore, you have to have an experiment that will show that it is indeed due to gravity.
Okay.
and
Mass
effect relationships,
attracts
man.
mass, right? Newtonian gravity, right? The local gravity. There we go. Mass attracts mass.
Okay,
Gas
well,
is a mass.
That's a myth, but let's assume that that's true. Show
Nuh-uh.
it with show it through an experimentation.
Oh my god, this is so much fun.
No, I'm serious.
It's going to get
man.
worse, dude. It's going to get worse.
This is so much fun for me. I'm talking to a
This
grown
is where you're
man.
misunderstanding.
Not gravity.
Let's try this.
Wait,
another
hold
way.
up. What is gravity?
The gravity
there
is
you
the attraction of mass.
Okay,
Mass
and
attraction.
where has anyone ever seen mass attracting mass in nature? Where have they ever seen that?
Right here. Let me just ready.
He's going to drop a pin. There you go.
I'm gonna
That's
it's my little
brilliant,
mic. I'm gonna drop it.
dude. Okay.
Now, how do you know that was
Beautiful.
an attraction?
So
Do you know where the energy? Hold on. Do you know where the energy for it to drop came from?
Yeah, the gravity. It was the
you.
acceleration of
it was
that
you.
gravity creates.
You
to
gave
pull it down to the
you
ground.
gave it the energy by lifting it to a state of disequilibrium.
What?
You
Never heard of
gave it
Archimedes before?
potential energy. Look. I just gave this lighter potential energy.
So what's keeping it on the floor now? It's on the floor. What's
Why
keeping
would
it
it
there?
need to be kept on the floor? It's found its
The energy
place
spent.
of relative
It's
density.
constantly being pulled down. That's
No,
what's
it's not
keeping
being
it on.
pulled down.
Then why isn't it floating away
There's
now?
no point. Why would it float away?
Because there's
The
nothing pulling it down.
the medium can't support it.
It's denser than the medium around it.
Everything is subject to a
Oh my
medium.
God, this is
Like a
great.
child.
Everything is subject to a medium. The object will either displace the medium or the medium will displace the object. It's that
Right,
simple.
of course. Yeah, of course. Awesome.
Got a little
But
density-
something
density
What
is-
you have is proof
something-
of gravity. Where is your proof of gravity? I can modulate the. Okay, here's the thing.
Nope.
I can modulate
There
the
you go.
medium. Hold on. I can modulate the medium and change that acceleration all day long merely by increasing the density of the medium in ratio to the density of the object.
Yep.
That's all I have to do. Okay.
Yep, but what
And you
is
modulate- hold on.
what is the force that's pulling it down though?
There is no force pulling it down. You
So
gave it
why is
energy.
it going down? What makes
gave
it go
it-
down?
Why does a rubber band snap back? This thing went back to its original position of relative density. You gave it the energy by lifting it up. Did it get up here on its own?
Well, no.
No, I
Well,
lifted it, right? Did
right,
I
because
put
you're-
energy into lifting it?
You're putting up. You're
I put
creating an
energy
opposite
into-
force of
I
gravity.
put energy into lifting it, right? Energy cannot.
Yes,
It can
to,
only be
to
transported.
counteract gravity.
So now
To counter-
the energy that I use to lift it is transferred into the object as it seeks relative density.
You're laughing like a child, dude, when there's nothing.
So wait,
there's
so
absolutely
wait, so
nothing funny
so
about-
there's so what you're
absolutely
saying is that
nothing-
there's an
absolutely
invisible
nothing
rubber
funny about
band that's
it.
holding that's attached to this.
No, I did not
No,
say
dude.
that at all.
Okay, so what are you saying?
Well, let me give you a second. You're calm down and stop hysterically laughing.
I know
Why
it's
think you're
not
funny? This is a joke.
Well, no, wait a
No
second. Wait a
jokes
second.
from
This
me.
is why you're
No, it's not a
unable to
joke, dude.
perceive what's being told to you. It's because you're too busy rejecting it. Okay? You're the one that's assuming that there's some kind of a rubber band force called
You
gravity.
just said that.
No,
Rubber band
I
force?
said-
No, that's not.
No, he
Listen
didn't.
to it in context again. Listen carefully. Do I have your attention?
Slow down.
Okay. Settle down. All right. Much like why a rubber band wants to return to its original position, and you give it the energy by stretching it back out of its original position, the object wants to be in a place of its own relative density to itself. Okay? Now, the medium, of course, is less dense per volume than the object itself. Therefore, the object is in a state of disequilibrium. Everything wanting to return to an equal state, the object goes toward its own relative density in ratio to the medium. Now, if we change the medium to the point where the relative density of the medium is greater than the relative density per volume of the object will now be rejected by the medium and go to a state of where it has relative density. It's that simple. There's no magical force involved. Lifting an object out of into disequilibrium and releasing the energy into the object so that it can return to equilibrium is not a force from the
So
ground.
I have a question for you. Where's your Nobel Peace Prize?
What a Nobel Peace Prize? Why?
Yeah, because
so I can
with
pay off my
with
wife and marry my cousin like Einstein did? Huh?
with,
I wouldn't do that. Rob. That's
Can I-
sad, man.
with
Can I
no. Let me talk because there's nothing supporting what you just said.
There is,
Yeah,
absolutely.
nothing is-
That's
can
why
I-
we have chips.
Okay, go on. Show me in the physics textbook where all that garbage is.
Archimedes.
Garbage. You never heard of
Archimedes, bro.
Even
Way
general
before
relativity.
Newton.
Even
Okay,
general
so again, can you please provide me the science textbook that is in? You're saying
Archimedes.
okay. So let's say
Are you familiar with Archimedes? Archimedes. Do you know who that is?
yeah, I've heard of them, but I mean
You've heard
that's
of it.
well, I go
You've
I
heard
go
of
with
it.
with I go
And
with
you-
what we
and
know
you
now,
dismiss
right?
him-
I go
you
with what we know
dismiss him
now.
while you embrace the mercury eating fool Newton.
Okay. Can I maybe get 5 minutes to try?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, go.
Fine. Okay.
But I still have a lot of super chats I got to go over.
Yeah, no stress. You see, I got 3 boxes here.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, and it says box 1 is container, box 2 is pressure, and box 3 is gradient. Now we're asking you to prove to us, number 1, how can you have number 2 if you don't have number 1, but you pointing to us straight to number 3 as your argument? Do you see the fallacious reasoning here?
So the container is
Yeah.
gravity.
Nope.
There it is. Yes.
Gravity's not a container. Gravity's not even a force. Gravity hasn't even been scientifically validated to even exist. But now I want
So-
to say, okay, but let's
Nuh-uh.
play that game. Gravity's a container.
Yep.
If I carry a bucket of propane, will gravity keep that propane in the bucket?
Is the propane is it more dense than the air around it?
Yes,
Then it will stay in the bucket.
indefinitely.
Yeah, until you pour it out, I guess, or maybe it kind of.
Mhm.
Do you know why they sell propane tanks closed?
Yeah, because they're pressurized.
So when they open that pressurized container, what happens to the propane?
Well, it shoots out. I let it on fire and I cook my burgers.
So it shoots out. Yeah, exactly. Why? Because it's high to low pressure. This is entropy. But the fact is now, Number one is container. You can't
Right.
have number two, which is pressure, without the container, because pressure by default is the gas pressing on the container walls. Okay? So when you claim gradient, that means there's already pressure, which means there's already containment for that gradient to exist. You understand that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool. So now that we got that established, when we say, like you just said, no, the high pressure will come out, that just totally takes away the fact that gravity will hold gas down indefinitely. This is the same with sulfur hexafluoride, SF6. I'm sure you've seen when they put it in a fish tank. Why do you think they put a covering over that fish tank?
I haven't seen that, but I have seen is that the more dense gas
That's
in
the
the
one
fish
that
tank?
makes their voice go all deep, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So it's more dense. So
The reason they do that is because it disperses. Entropy has what they call the arrow of time. So the denser the gas is, the longer it takes to disperse. So gravity won't hold any gas down indefinitely. And this is why we're saying there is no demonstration where gravity has any effect on gases. That's all the time I needed, by the way. Thanks.
all right, yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. I like it. I like it a lot. So, what is our atmosphere? Can you guys tell me what our atmosphere is?
Gas.
Yeah, what kind of gas?
Conglomerate of different gases.
Where does that gas come
In
from?
a dynamic system.
Where does that gas come from?
Comes from the Earth, dude.
Okay, so
Down
the
here.
Earth is constantly creating this gas, right?
No, it's recycling.
And we use it too.
Dalton's law. It falls under Dalton's law.
It's a process called respiration, especially down in what they call the troposphere. We have the process of exchanging gases, as well as the production and consumption of the various gases, the recycling of water vapor, that whole thing, the trees breathing in carbon dioxide, the algae taking in carbon dioxide, producing oxygen, the breakdown of various organic materials into other gases that are then consumed by other organisms. It's really quite a complex process, but we have the highest concentration of all the gases right at the surface of the Earth because that's the source of production.
Beautiful. Very well said, Sav. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's good. All right, so I'm going to read some super chats because these are from a while ago. So I had Jack Fredder for $4.99 saying the sun and shadows in real time BS. Show us a live demo saying it is one thing, proving is another. So that was going back to our initial conversation.
Yeah. Ray tracing gives that. That's why I say if you have an Unreal environment, you're able to have the path tracing based on light and shadows. And this is also why we see the anomalies with the shadows, because it shows different lighting effects, and even their live streams, they're able to use the volume as it's been put forward, which already gives light off LED screen to give their lighting positions, which gives shadows automatically.
All right. Well, I hope that was sufficient for you, Jack. So A Bates for $2 says, "Oh my God, HTML in Notepad, pack it up. We are done."
Yeah, that's literally where I started learning HTML, was in Notepad.
Yeah, of course. That's where you start, right? And then you get Emacs, and then you get and then you get then you use
Java,
Visual Studio Code.
Yeah, ended up doing some Java and C++.
Oh yeah, I'm working on Python right now. Cygnus Stop for $5. Thank you so much. Says Flatzoid's BS reminds me of the last time I got interviewed by the FBI. It wasn't me. It was a foreigner. I mean, it totally could have been.
Oh, that's a Witzer thing.
Ollie for €2 says how shadows generated correctly with an overlay. I think you just kind of answered that.
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah. Ollie for €2 says, when will Flatzoid do a scientific experiment?
Already did.
There we go. Sean Hawkins for $2 says Crowley died before NASA was thought of. We already kind of went over that.
Mm-hmm.
That he was he had a
he was the mentor.
pawn.
He was the mentor. Yeah.
Laura Luminous Pooh for $5 says, as leader of the Illuminati, we are definitely using The Simpsons as our template. Our next mission is to end Mr. Burns.
Yeah, that dude is modeled after Jacob Rothschild.
He
The
kind of
Wizard
looks like
Burns?
him, doesn't he?
Yeah, take a look. Do a Google search for Jacob Rothschild and compare it to Mr. Burns. It's who he's modeled after. Yeah.
Beautiful. I have Bill Tetley for $5 says, I hear Flatzoid spewing a bunch of horse shit, but not bringing any supporting evidence. I guess first will say anything to keep their religion alive. Let's
It's
see.
weird. I'm able to explain exactly what I said, so I don't know how that's horseshit though.
And our religion's Christianity, by the way, but we don't have to support it. It supports itself.
Don't have a religion. I have a relationship with Christ.
There
Amen.
you go. Even better.
Followers of Jesus.
As you do. Laura Luminous Pooh for $2 says, Catsoid, where is the Voyager 1 probe?
In a basement somewhere.
Probably.
It's an
Under the Smithsonian. Dude.
With really reception that takes 44 minutes for us to be able to communicate with. Jack Feder for $5 says, sorry, I'm listening to him insult NASA and its employees over their years. What has he accomplished, published, or innovated?
Okay, I've never insulted any NASA employees. I'm actually a good friend with an ex-NASA employee, so yeah, I got nothing against NASA employees. They don't know they're lied to. They just do their job. If a guy trains to look at a graph and say, okay, this is my job, my graph says this, he believes what's going on. He's not lying to anyone.
There we go. Jim Hardy for $5 says, Flatzoid, why can't you debate in good faith without calling your opponent either stupid or evil? I wasn't called stupid or evil. You call everyone incompetent or a Masonic deceiver.
No. Did I call you Masonic?
No.
It's your
You
brick
didn't
wall.
mention my brick wall.
He does got a brick wall. I was going to say. Where's
I'm
your left
hiding
boot, damn it? Where's your left
Yeah,
boot?
my left boot, actually, I'm only wearing a left boot.
I knew it.
It's
Now
my
you just,
initiation.
you just have to change the gold splats to orange splats, okay?
Yeah, and I'm gonna change this
With
to
a red
checker
and blue
pattern
33 on the back. Yeah.
with a black and white checker. Love it. Sean Hawkins says $5 for $5 says, why won't you admit you lied about me after I proved I didn't?
Oh,
God.
What's he talking
It's still
about?
going on.
I just got to say, Sean Hawkins, I appreciate you giving him all the super chats, but rather spend it on food, man, because you keep saying you have no money for food.
You need to gain some weight, dude.
John,
Really.
did you get your mom's credit card again? Does she know you got that again?
God.
And then Sean Hawkins for another $2 says, after I proved I didn't lie.
Oh no, he definitely lied.
you
The
definitely
guy's
lied.
delusional.
Yeah, I don't have a comment on that. Laura Luminous Pooh for $2 says he didn't lie. He kept a secret. I don't know who. Oh, was that? Shoot, I don't know what that was referring to.
I've no
I
idea.
didn't refer to anything. I don't know.
Pooh, can you tag me in your meaning of that? A Bates for $5 says ignorant people raise questions which were answered by the wise thousands of years ago. That's from Johann W. Goth.
Well, I would say it's ignorant to be able to just accept what people say.
Especially 1,000 years ago.
Remember,
Yeah,
like John Wayne Twain said, it's easier to fool a person than to make them understand they've been fooled.
I like that. That's a good one. D-Vids for $2 says, are there any refutations from Globers that you accept?
About?
There's a general open question. You interpret that how you feel. Martin Smith
I can accept this.
Yeah, you can go
Water
ahead.
is wet.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hate that dude.
No, wait. You get
I don't.
saturation.
Water's
Water's not wet.
Water's not wet.
No,
You
Water's
get
not
wet
wet.
by saturation of water.
Yeah. Water's
Oh,
wet stuff,
sorry.
but it's not wet itself.
Yeah, you can't have water saturate.
Yeah, by
water.
definition. Yeah, you're right.
Martin Smith for £4.99 says, for Catzoid, what was the intent of removing 11 frames if not to deceive?
First of all the frames are in that video, and secondly, I showed exactly what happened, and I showed you it's only 4 frames, not 11, because when I take that inferior mirage out, it means I'm showing it's not physical Earth curve. The only ones intending to deceive is Red's rhetoric that still doesn't want to accept that all the frames are still in the video.
right.
And everybody that still pushes it as that, by the way.
I actually haven't even. I've heard about the 11 frames. There's obviously an ongoing joke about it, but I haven't actually looked into that. I just let that be an inside joke for everybody else. For King Ed V for $2, thank you so much. Says he is lying. Check the ALE website, December 14th to the 18th for this past year. I'm assuming.
I could have
Yeah,
got that.
that's the whole thing. You had it. Okay, so the trip they offer, and they offer it this year. They've already put up the new schedule, even though they supposedly don't stop till January the 25th. They have the new schedule up there. That trip in specific for $32,000 is offered from the 14th to the 18th. Now, these flights are scheduled around the trips. So you don't call up ALE and say, yeah, I want to do your Penguin overnight package, blah, 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 but I want to do it on this date. No, we have it on this date. Okay. So what happens is, like, the plane that came in to pick them up or to drop them when they came in from Buenos Aires. Okay. That plane was going in with them on it and picking up the people from the place and going back. It went back out full. That was the status on it. It went back out full. The next flight in was with the new people that were going to come in on the 18th. Now, they said that they left on the 17th, that the plane was coming early. I said that the plane came in earlier on the 18th and not the 17th. Because on the 17th, according to the ALE Facebook page, there was a historic landing of a P-3 Orion aircraft from the Chilean Navy that landed on the Blue Ice runway. Now, this is a great big 4-engine, prop-driven, 20-something crew aircraft with a bunch of electronics on it, and they're going to map the Antarctic area using this plane. Okay, they have a little research station just a few miles from Union Glacier themselves. And that's one of the logistic things that ALE takes care of. But this was the first time this plane had ever landed. The photographs online of it landing at the Blue Ice runway on the 17th were beautiful weather. Absolute beautiful weather. Okay. Now, if they did indeed leave on the 17th, what did you do all day? Where's any proof of your arrival on the 17th, a day early? What did you do all day the 18th? You have an entire day to kill in a country that you've never been to before. Your viewers would most likely be interested in, hey, let's go around town or something. Let's kill some time and go around town, maybe try some of that famous Chilean sea bass or see how their stores operate. I mean, just anything like that. There's like this missing gap of time. And I still don't think that the plane actually left on the 17th. I think that it did leave on the 18th as it was scheduled to, and that there was a little bit of fuckery involved with saying they actually left a day early. Now, until I'm proven wrong, I'm going to hang on to that. And if I am proven wrong, then I'm fine. That's great. I still would like to know what y'all did on the 18th.
So they had GPS trackers on them.
Well, okay.
So that would show exactly where they are.
Well, if that is, if those GPS trackers were actually on them and that kind of thing. I mean, I'm not saying that. Listen, you got to understand, this deception of this globe has been being pushed now hard for 400 freaking years.
2,500 years.
Hold on, especially since the Reformation. You don't think that all the manpower, all the effort into deceiving people into this globe nonsense they're going to let a couple of swinging dicks from YouTube go down there and say, oh no, it's not a globe. No, they're not going to do that whatsoever. So this whole thing was just a bunch of crap to start with. And what I predicted in the very beginning was that we would be in the same boat we were before they went, relegated to questionable testimony, questionable video, and hearsay from people who are not me or you. And that's exactly where we are at with it. Exactly as I had predicted. The other funny thing is they said, oh, well, there's hundreds of videos and stuff that show a 24-hour sun and all this stuff, blah, 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 in Antarctica. Then why did you go? Then
Because-
why did you go?
Because you say it's fake.
Well, so what? Did it change that? People are still saying it's fake. Right?
Because,
Okay. So
because you
these
just
guys-
refuse to
wait a second,
accept anything as
these
evidence.
guys stack on top of the pile of questionable testimony, questionable evidence, and questionable characters. They're just another piece of another dirty sock on the pile of laundry that we already have.
Can I make an analogy right quick? You ever peel an onion all the way down? What do you get when you're done with it?
Stinky hands.
Yeah,
You get
that's about it.
nothing, dude. That's what we got. We're peeling the onion piece by piece, and it's turning into crap. And you can laugh about it, but the
Yeah.
evidence stacks up.
It's hilarious.
Now, here's another
They went through so many hoops to get you the most accurate data they could
No,
possibly
they
give
didn't.
you.
They dropped the ball completely. Dude holds his compass upside down.
Dude,
Doesn't halfway give a shit.
They were
Come
a joke
on.
because of that, dude. They were a joke because they didn't know how to use a freaking compass, dude.
I know. I know.
Because Jaron didn't know how to use a compass, that means it was all a lie.
No, that's just listen. That's
Like-
just
like-
one. That's just one whiff of smoke.
Bringing
And
it
then
up,
you smell
bringing that
more
up
whiffs of
is
smoke. Look,
bringing that up for anything
Real
anything
simple.
saying that it was
Real
deceitful
Real simple.
is saying yes, that's a reason.
Reese,
okay.
That's
Okay.
just one thing. Okay, that's just one thing. But
They shouldn't be a
nevertheless,
thing.
all it
He
is.
fucked up
Listen, you
the
could go out right
compass, so
now.
what?
I guarantee you could go out randomly in your town someplace, whether you're at the store or anything, standing in line, ask somebody there, say, "Hey, what did you think about that final experiment?"
Well,
They're going to
know what
go,
I'm talking about.
"What are you talking about?" Okay.
Yeah.
Now, another thing too, this big claim, it destroyed the AE map. Well, does that mean that now no one is ever going to use the AE map anymore? The Navy
No.
just went and burned all their AE maps,
No,
got rid
no,
of them and everything, right?
It ruined
Is
the
that what's
Gleason
gonna happen?
map. It ruined the
Come on.
Gleason map, not the AE map, because the AE
Wait,
map is
it's-
dependent on where you are located on the globe.
Do you understand?
Is
You
it?
understand it's a globe projection? It's not a flat Earth map. Are you well aware of that?
The AE
It
map
has nothing
is
to
a
do
globe
with the
No, the
projection.
flat
Yeah.
Gleason map.
The-
You know what I
the-
found? You know what I found interesting? I don't know if you guys saw lately. Someone asked ChatGPT about the distance going around Antarctica and the distance.
Yes.
Do you know that Antarctica shows it's bigger than the equator?
Yeah.
How's
And
that?
so did Clark and
possible?
Cook. They went around it much further than that, dude. It's been charted way before this started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's the circumference around Antarctica bigger than the equator?
Well, why are you taking information from ChatGPT?
I didn't,
Because
dude. I
the
got
Well,
the
it didn't.
James Rock.
It got caught
No,
lying.
Flatzoid just said that he took the information from.
No, not me. It's a video that someone asked ChatGPT.
Right, but
And they compared it to what the information was. And at the end of the day, ChatGPT said, "Oh yeah, I had to update my answer," and
Okay.
it came up to something like 53,000 kilometers,
Mhm.
bigger than the equator. How does that fit with your ball?
Well, did you measure it yourself?
That's what your globe is measuring it to be.
That's what ChatGPT said it is.
Yeah, they
That's
took
what the
data.
information says, yeah.
That's what Google Earth actually showed it was. And here's the interesting thing. When you try to do an area measurement around Antarctica on Google Earth, you can't get it. It won't connect. You can't connect the two. You'll get like this crescent moon looking crap.
So I just looked it up. It's 11,185 miles is the circumference of Antarctica.
It says it's 53,000.
What does?
Let's quickly go to Google Earth. Let's see.
He's going to show you.
How about we just go with the actual like measurement here? Because
Well, that's
drawing a
measurement.
line.
What
That's not
measurement?
a measurement. That's a calculation.
Calculation.
What? How do you think that? How do you think cartographers work?
Yeah.
You think they just calculate things?
Yes.
Though they measure,
How?
and then
They physically measure?
yes, we've been doing it for
Let
thousands
me
of
ask you a
years.
question. Let me ask you, how do you physically measure a distance across a vast ocean?
You between land masses. What are you talking?
Yeah,
and
how
then
do you
you
measure it?
determine your speed and where
Oh,
you
your
are
speed.
located, like
That's
latitudinally
calculation.
and longitudinally.
How are you
Calculation.
indicating your speed? How do you know what your speed is? What if you're in a current that's coming at you? No, what it's done is you calculate your
He
speed.
doesn't know how to knock him
You're
off.
not measuring a speed.
So no.
Hold on,
Okay.
wait. You're not you're calculating a speed. How do they navigate across the ocean?
So you don't think that this was a question thousands of years ago? How are we going to get
Yeah.
around this issue? And you don't
Yeah.
think that a solution was ever
absolutely.
created?
Absolutely. That's why you need to look.
Okay. So how about this?
Look into how the meridians had to be established south of the equator. It's
So
a
how
nightmare.
It says, yeah, the perimeter of Antarctica's ice is roughly 53,610 kilometers.
Can you share that?
This measurement was determined by NASA in 2010 by using satellite images.
Go ahead. Share it.
Okay.
I did the circumference of Antarctica, not the perimeter.
Or perimeter would entitle.
Okay, so let's look at it this way, right? Circumference is a circle, right? So if we take the circle, if we just take a circle and circle it around Antarctica, right? That would be
circumference, okay.
right. That would be 11.
But yeah, the perimeter is outlining it.
Yeah.
But now, if you outline, what was that? What was
Yeah, what do they call it? A coastal paradox.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what
So how does that make
How do you
it
fit 53,000 miles into 11? That's what I'm trying to figure.
yeah.
by squiggly lines? Like, what do you
Squiggly
mean?
lines.
Like
Huh.
it's not a perfect circle. Like the how okay, so if it's an issue that the perimeter is what 53,000
That's
miles
like
or whatever?
5 times the size, dude. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're taking the
How does that
perimeter.
fit?
So they fit. So Antarctica, the 53,000 mile perimeter is within an 11,000 mile or kilometer circumference. Like, how is that difficult to understand?
I mean, we're trying to fit it in there. Just hold on.
Yeah,
a minute.
you're trying to.
Yeah, it doesn't fit, dude.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, you said it doesn't fit. Oh, I believe you.
Not really.
Because we have it there. We have the data there. But okay.
Why the circumference
good
of
one.
Antarctica's ice shelf is 8,411 miles larger than the circumference of the equator, 333,1200 miles in total circumference. Because while the equator is a straight line, technically a circle, but the curve is downward. Antarctica isn't a straight line; it curves in and out in an irregular shape. So their excuse is Great Circle Route, maybe.
Yeah. Okay,
Their excuse
Great Circle
is
Route.
reality.
There's definitely. No, it's not, dude. Great
How
Circle
did
Route.
you- let me ask you
I just
something.
find that
No.
You keep saying that. You keep saying that. How do you verify that that's reality? What you think is reality?
Well,
How did you
because
verify
it's
that?
documented. It's
Oh,
been
so
verified.
consensus.
Technically.
Really?
Sorry.
Consensus? So I'm just asking. That's what you're saying. So
So
consensus.
how do you verify that that's not correct?
Wait a second. How did I
Yeah,
verify?
go
that
ahead.
it's
Go ahead,
not
verify it.
correct? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, to verify that it's not correct is the fact that there is no convexity to the Earth, no measurable curvature. Okay,
He thinks it curves. I know.
right? So that's first and foremost. That's
Okay.
first and foremost. Secondly, this reliance that you have, this, and it's not a fault. It's many people have this, that these vast distances have been measured. No, they have not. They've been calculated. Okay. And the way that they calculate your speed across the ocean is not with a speedometer, not with an odometer. It's through observation of the stars. Now, here's the problem when you get past the equator. You've lost Polaris. And now you're relegated only to time and movement. So you're taking pretty close estimations of where you've gone to from the last position based on the length of time and the movement of the stellar light. Now, the meridians, and due to this, are tightly controlled. If you brought up cartography, you will not get a map published unless you follow the global coordinates. Even if you go out and start from scratch and do it yourself, you will not get that map published. It is tightly controlled through the crown of England. This is no shit. You can look into it. We do have the quartz watch or the quartz clock to be thankful for, due to them trying to figure this shit out south of the equator, because it was hard to get any kind of accurate timekeeping on a ship. At that time, we had either a spring-loaded clock, which would start slowing down as the spring unwound, or you had a pendulum clock, which was near to impossible to have on a rocking ship. So this is what they were relegated to. Now, when you look at the sailboat speed for the yacht race down in Antarctica, guess what that top speed is down there? 4.7 knots.
Wow. So fast.
4.7 knots. Why is this? Is because they are calculating their speed, and the meridians actually do spread out, contrary to what the global coordinates tell you.
I was going to do some, like, how do you circumnavigate without a central point? That's my next question. And how do you get a circumference without that? It would widen the further away you got away from the central point. That's how you get a circumference anywhere on our Earth. That's circumnavigation for dummies, dude. Simple. We navigate from the north. It gets wider as you go further out. That's the way it works. Plain and simple. I don't care what you calculate or how you crunch in little cartographer islands they call continents, called Antarctica, which is bullshit. There's more to Antarctica than what you know. They don't have it on a map. It's uncharted.
Yeah, but that's why I just brought this up, because I just find it odd that you get these weird anomalies with the perimeters and things. It just doesn't really make sense. But yeah, when it comes to cartography, they take it off of planar surveying, and then if you use geodetics, it's curve calculation considerations. They first measure it based on a plane. Then they calculate the ellipsoidal WGS84 into it based on their belief that that slope angle is a curve.
It has to curve in their world. Gravity has to exist in their world too, but it doesn't. There's no provable evidence of their gravity you speak about. We can demonstrate this. You can't prove mass attracts mass here or anywhere. Don't take it to space. Go ahead, see if it works.
So I've actually got a question for you, Mike.
Yeah.
Do you have any scientific hypothesis and experiment for gravity?
No, not me personally.
Well, have you seen any? Because out of like the 10 years of being into flat Earth, I've never seen it. That's why I'm asking.
Well, I mean, you're doing the Cavendish experiment time 2.0, right?
No, I'm sure Cavendish 2.0 is showing relative density disequilibrium and that gravity is not a force. But
well, how disappointing.
Yeah,
So, well, I mean, there's Cavendish.
Listen, we are in the 21st century. We are a quarter of the way into it. And if the best that anybody can come up with is some janky ass contraption contrived by an elite crackpot who ate lead in the 18th century, and that's the best you've got in the 21st century, a quarter of the way into it, I would be utterly embarrassed to bring up Cavendish. Even Cavendish wasn't even trying to prove mass attracting mass. Do you know what?
Okay, what if I bring up LIGO?
Do you know? Yeah,
LIGO. Go ahead.
And them sending out their test thing, and them thinking it was real and getting all excited. Yeah. My cousin actually works at LIGO.
Gravitational waves. Yeah, they actually measure those.
My cousin himself measured the gravitational waves from two black holes colliding.
Oh my God!
Black holes colliding.
Yeah, it's crazy shit.
Yeah, it's almost unbelievable.
I'm so sorry. Does that scare you guys?
No, it's just ridiculous.
Is that scary?
It's funny, dude. It's really hilarious.
You realize how ridiculous it actually is. Do you actually?
I think gravity wells are real too, don't you?
I love science fiction. It doesn't scare me at all.
No, I'm serious. Do you realize how
the movie's really good? Black Hole, great movie.
Event Horizon, good one.
You
could just say nah, but I mean, all the data is there.
No, what is a black hole? Please tell me, what is a black hole?
A black hole is a dead star that has collapsed upon itself. It's a singularity. It's incredibly dense.
And how do you know this?
Because it's been studied.
How do you
How do
study
you-
something?
like-
How do you study
Because
something?
okay,
you
so
can't
how
see?
about this, Sov? How about
Wait,
instead of asking,
we're getting- you said you like
let me talk.
science.
Let me talk. You asked me a question.
Okay.
You asked me a question, so I'm going to answer that question.
All right.
If you're going to ask me of what instruments do they use, what math, what physics do they use,
Math and
go
physics
to
are not
school
science.
and learn.
Math and science.
Find out.
Math
Learn
and
yourself how it works.
Math is not science.
I want to
Okay.
ask you: Is
Is
are
that what
black
you're going to do?
holes
You're going to take that I used math
No,
and
no,
just be like, oh,
No.
everything else he just
No.
said was stupid
No.
because
No.
no. What you need to do,
I'm
Sal,
not.
before you
I'm
can
asking
speak on
simple
before you can
questions.
speak on astronomy and physics, you need to go to school for astronomy and physics, and
Okay.
then you can
Astronomy,
tell them how
again,
they're wrong. You can
Astronomy
tell them how
is
they're
not
wrong at that point.
science. Astronomy is
black
not
holes-
science either.
Then
All
go to
black
school and go
The host of the show is
learn
trying to talk.
astronomy and say, hey, this isn't science. Go tell them. Go learn
We've done
astronomy
that.
and then
Well,
say,
what
hey,
do they
this
do?
isn't
Let me
science.
ask you something.
I just
Let me
wanna
ask you
find out.
something. What do they
I
do
am.
that is science? What do they actually do that is science? How do they test? How do they modulate variables? What
Go
do they
figure
do
it
in
out.
astronomy that is actually science?
Go
Other
figure
than-
it out.
Do you know what the
Go
word
find out.
literally?
Go enroll.
I
Go enroll
already
into
know.
Harvard
I
because
already
you're so
know
fucking
what they
smart.
do.
I
Dude,
just-
the word
I-
Oh my
literally.
God, now it's a name calling game. Let's go to Harvard.
The word
All right.
literally
Dude,
means
don't
starting.
know.
What did I say? I didn't call him a name.
Nobody said
When I
that.
mean, but you're
Please, guys,
being.
wait. I just want to ask: are black holes compatible with Newtonian gravity?
No.
They're so. Listen, I'm not the one to talk to about that. All right, I know that there's a difference between Newtonian and Einsteinian.
General relativity.
Relativity.
Yeah. So I understand that there's a difference. Okay, Newtonian gravity is what we observe here on Earth. Okay, the larger scale is where general relativity comes in, outside of Earth.
So they say. Now, do we observe
I've been verified.
Newtonian or do we observe Einsteinian gravity?
Here on Earth.
No, do we
Newtonian.
observe? Full stop. Do you observe in
So
Newtonian?
we
or
use
Einsteinian?
so we describe what we see here on Earth with Newtonian gravity.
Okay, so then we don't observe general relativity's gravity.
Up there we do.
So we have different physics in space than we do in reality on Earth where we live.
No, it all works together.
But then how do you observe one and the other and one the? It doesn't make sense because
With telescopes.
in
and
reality
space
we look in the sky just like in reality we look in us where we are on this Earth. So why would physics be different in the sky compared to where we live?
So, like I said, I don't have a degree in general relativity. I don't have a degree in Newtonian physics. All right. So I'm not going to speak on that. However, I do have the basic understanding that Newtonian is what we observe here. Everywhere that also includes the Earth, but externally from the Earth, is where general relativity comes in.
Yeah, you see, and this is where we have our issue with it. There is no observation of Newtonian or general relativity at play. There's no science.
We literally.
It doesn't even go past observation to be able to make a hypothesis, to be able to make any scientific validation.
So you were
let's
trained in this.
Let's for instance say Cavendish. Okay,
That's Newtonian.
What's Cavendish's hypothesis?
That the masses will attract each other. The two lead balls will you take two lead balls either side and then take a mass and put it near one of them, and then after a certain amount of time, the torsion whatever thing in the middle will register some twist.
So in other words, what's the independent variable there?
Oh no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not this. You've done you do this with everybody.
You said we deny science.
I'm
making my
not falling
point.
into your trap,
I'm
dude.
just
I'm not
making my
falling into the
point.
trap.
Just
No,
making
I'm
my
not going to do it because what you want me to do, you want me to say something wrong, and then you're going to be like, "Oh, look
already
at this
did.
fucking globe time."
You already
Right,
did.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is, dude, you said we deny science to start with that from the jump, and we're here walking you through the scientific method, and you're saying we deny science. No, we don't. We ask you to prove science, and we don't want to go with fairy tales from pseudo-Riemannian space time.
So what
you can't
what
prove
science
here
are you
at all.
What science are you proving?
Just general science, dude.
Oh,
Basic
general science. Okay, so
That's-
what? Okay, so there's a lot of fields in science. Okay, so what specific field are you
No, there's only
employing
one
here?
science, and there's only one
Natural
scientific method.
One scientific
There's only one
Natural
science.
science.
There's only
One
one
science
science, guys.
method.
Holy shit.
No. There's only one scientific method.
One scientific method.
Yeah.
Not one
Oh,
science.
okay. All right.
Let me just ask you this.
Because you guys passed high school science classes, right?
You said that astronomy is
No,
science.
I didn't do it.
Yes, astronomy is science.
You
yes.
said
It is a
astronomy
field of
is science. Okay. Well, the word literally means star naming. So outside of observing things and making up a story about what you see, what kind of science is done
Study of
in
space.
astronomy?
That's astronomy. It's the study of space
No,
and celestial objects.
It's looking at stars. It's looking at things
At
in the
space.
sky. What are those things in the sky? How do you know what those things in the sky are? How have you tested what those things in the sky are? They've done none of that. All they've done is come up with some kind of a mathematical extrapolation of what they claim. All the math is nothing more than a mathematical description of what they are saying. Okay.
Okay, so
And
what do you think
like,
what do you think they've been doing for the last
describe a
1,000
story,
years?
It doesn't make it real. Let me
1,000
tell you
years.
why.
So
This is
why
why
don't you go take
mathematics-
astronomy and then tell me and then say all this again? Take an astronomy course and then tell me all this again.
I've taken astronomy courses. Why would I have to? That's why I know that it's all.
If you have to ask how astronomy is a science, then you didn't take a course.
It's
or
not
you
a
stepped through
science. It doesn't use the scientific method.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It doesn't get past observation. This is the whole
If
point.
you
Let's say like the black holes you brought up. How
Okay,
did-
so spectroscopy
What?
isn't
That's just
isn't a science?
that's
wait,
just
I
that's not a
will-
science.
That requires a
Wait,
container, my
wait,
bad. That
Okay,
requires a container.
I work with spectroscopy as well, okay?
Yeah, he does.
And understands just the wavelengths of light which accumulate in a given medium. So we have a container, a spectroscope, which actually picks up the wavelength of light. Now, does that make, let's say we're looking at something in space, does that make now that specific observation true to what the spectroscope picks up? No, it doesn't. It just correlates to say, I see this much spectrum of red, or I see this much spectrum of the blue, and therefore this gas illuminates there, so we know this type of gas is there. That's correlation. That's not causation. That's not scientific. This is what I'm saying. When you bring up, for instance, a black hole, and you're saying, no, we've observed a black hole, something you can't see because you only see the event horizon, apparently.
Where the light bends across it.
How do you know that that's caused by gravity? Because the claim would be gravity causes that.
We know what gravity is.
Where's the independent variable manipulated to make that claim?
We know what gravity is. That's how we can determine that is gravity.
No, they don't.
You say we don't, yet all of
Neil deGrasse
your
Tyson
cars,
even says so.
your car were all designed using gravity. Okay?
They were making cars based on gravity. Yeah,
But
that's
observe
those are
the
the
fact
main
that-
factors.
Your
Wait.
phone uses gravity.
No,
Every aspect of our lives at some point was based off of our understanding of gravity.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Because they take in the equation, they take G, and they claim it to be gravity, doesn't make it gravity. That's just the association to the observed phenomenon of things falling.
Listen, I understand
is
that
no
gravity
proof
being
that
a thing
gravity-
would completely destroy your entire concept of the Earth. Like you have to say it doesn't exist, just like you
No,
have
it
to say
doesn't, because
the
there hasn't
24
been any science for it. This is my whole point. There is no science for gravity, and I still have yet to someone give me a valid hypothesis and experiment for it. People try their best to bring up Cavendish, and then can't even decide what the independent variable is.
Okay, so I'll link my cousin's article as well. He worked at LIGO.
LIGO.
He'll tell you. He'll
And
he'll
does,
tell you.
and does LIGO work off of already assuming gravity to be real?
It detects gravity. So
No, but
we
does
already
it-
know
no,
what
no,
gravity is.
The data it picks up, does it assume gravity to already be a thing?
So we have an understanding of what gravity is. Therefore, it is applied to our data. Yes.
Okay, so it's data. It's not actual measurements. It's
It is
just
measurements using tools, using very big tools that actually LIGO. It had to be, you know, those really long things that detect the gravitational waves. Those are so long that they actually had to be adjusted for the Earth curvature so that they are perfectly straight.
Oh my fucking god!
do you know that-
Can you tell me?
wait,
Can you
wait.
tell me? Oh, so no, Sav, can you tell me how I'm wrong?
You haven't really said that you're right. You told me a story.
I told you a story. So how about you take my story and then prove it wrong?
Well,
Okay.
you haven't proven it right.
Oh, you want me to pull
Yeah,
it up?
That's what
Burden
you do
of
with
proof
gravity.
reversal.
You
Real
say,
Oh yeah, I'll pull the
Roger,
fallacies.
give me a minute, man.
Oh, is the fallacies? The fallacy
Roger,
police
give
are
me a
here. Woo, woo.
Okay, so you do the same thing with gravity. Okay, you presuppose it exists, and then say, "Oh, we'll prove that it doesn't." Listen, that'd be like me saying I can turn into a werewolf at will and
Really?
prove that I can't. Now. You have to prove that I can't.
No, I want to see that.
Yeah, well, prove that I can't then.
I
can
don't want
howl
to.
like a
I want to.
werewolf.
I want you to prove. I want you to
See,
do
there's
it.
evidence. There's evidence, right? I can pant like one. There's more evidence. Now, who's got the burden of proof? The claim, right?
No, I
So
just
if
want you to see it turn into a
no,
werewolf.
listen. The burden of proof lies on the positive claim. So you to presuppose that there's something called gravity requires that there has to be proof of that gravity. Merely dropping an object is nothing more than an observed effect that you ascribe to this thing you call gravity. If we go etymologically, we can look at the word actually comes from the word meaning heavy or weight. What is weight? Weight is nothing more than the relative quantification of the relative density of an object within a given medium. If we change the medium, we change the weight. This is why obese people take physical therapy in a pool, because it's easier for them to move. It has reduced their weight. That's all. There's no magical force pulling anything at all. Everything is medium dependent. There is never an instance where an object is not subject to a medium. And the ratio of density per volume of that object within that medium is going to decide whether it goes to one place or another. The object will either displace the medium or the medium will displace the object. If both are the same, nothing will happen and the object will remain static. It's that simple.
Yeah, I wasn't listening. I posted in the chat, in the private chat here, the YouTube video of how LIGO was built and how it proves the curvature of the Earth. So, on your own time, you can watch it.
Did you just say you weren't listening?
Yeah, because you already said all that before. Like you're just repeating yourself. So, like I already heard it once.
So what part of that didn't you not understand? I have I can modulate the medium and change the observed effect.
Because you're taking density and removing the G. That's all you're doing.
All G is an observed effect within
gravity.
This medium. Within this medium. Let me ask you something. Where do they do the bowling ball and the feather drop at? Where do they do that?
They did something similar on the moon, but they in a vacuum chamber.
In a vacuum chamber. Okay.
Yeah, because they had to take out the air resistance.
What was different inside of the vacuum chamber as opposed to outside of the vacuum chamber?
Air resistance.
The medium.
The air. Yeah,
what was modulated? What was modulated? What variable was modulated and thereby becoming the independent variable in that test? It was the medium. You did not modulate
the air out because the feather wouldn't go. It has mass. The feather has mass.
Yes. And all you did was reduce the density of the medium.
So what made it go down?
What?
What made it go down?
Why would it go any other direction? It's seeking relative density. Where's the most relative density?
There has to be an acceleration.
There's no acceleration.
A force. Okay, so I lift this pen. I lift this pen. I am applying a force to this pen.
You just gave it energy. Yeah.
I applied a force to this energy, to this pen. So to make it go back down, what would have to happen for this to go back down?
You gave it the energy.
I'm not giving it enery.
You did. You gave it energy by lifting it to a state of disequilibrium.
That's not how. Where the hell is your Nobel Prize, Sav? Because you need to write this up. You need to write this up. You need to get paid for this, dude.
You gave
Why?
it potential energy, man.
This isn't. I'm not giving it energy.
You
Yes,
did.
you did. Then how did
I
it get?
am
How did it
here.
get lifted?
Okay.
How did it
So
get lifted?
okay, sure. Okay, sure. So I gave it energy to make it go up.
Yep,
Okay.
where did the energy go?
So
now?
what is the energy that's pulling it back down?
Kinetic
energy
energy.
you gave it.
Using the potential.
So there's a force pulling it back down. So
No,
my
it's an
force
unbalanced
is
force.
putting it up.
Wait.
So there has to be a force pulling it back down.
It has an unbalanced force because the air around it cannot support it.
No, there's. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let
that's
go of
not-
the water. What
Right,
happens
like-
to it?
But anyway, do you see what's going on screen here?
Yeah, I see it.
That's ground, that's sky. Now you're saying they accounted for Earth curvature with LIGO. I'm going to just quickly teach you some things based on terrain.
Well, first
Let's make
watch
this
the video. Watch the video
I
first.
know we've watched it. We've debunked this ages ago. It's an old argument we keep getting from globers that don't understand things. Now, let's say that's the pipe. Some parts are higher than lower than the ground, correct? But the pipe is straight.
Yep.
There we go. It was based on terrain, not Earth curve. Thank you very much.
It was. It was. So if you watch the video and understand how much of a change that there was, like you'd see that it was a very, very slight change, right? If it was based on the topography, it would be a lot. It would be a lot more of a change than just a very small amount to
You know, what do you know the water that the canals they have next to LIGO?
God. Fucking canals. I didn't do my research on the
calling it a
canals.
canal. Do they have water streams next to it? I mean, in other words, do they have water basins?
I don't know.
They do.
Sure.
That
That's how they get
water,
level.
Cool.
that water doesn't curve.
Right. Water doesn't curve. You're right. Right. Okay. I still have a ton of super chats to go over. I'm just gonna bang through these real quick.
Yeah, I also have some super chats as well. So.
All right. Yeah. I already done some super chats. Go ahead and do your super chats.
Yeah, mine's gonna be much quicker. Just want to say most of them are just statements, actually. Scoffing doesn't make your point valid. Thank you, Stoops the Cat, with $2. He says another one. All science has been right until it was wrong. Also, Stoops the Cat, thank you. Patriot for $20. He says, I just want to see scientific proof that still bends, curves, or forms all at measurable and verifiable rate of curvature that must match the alleged globe circumference of 24,901 miles. Do you have any?
I don't have that written down. My bad.
Okay, and then Godzilla, thank you very much. He says it's amazing how globers know so little about gas pressure while being so full of hot air. Thank you very much, Godzilla. And LJ, thank you. He says cognitive dissonance displayed live. Thanks, Globetard. And then
You're welcome.
just Roger Ledwell, thank you for your membership. And you heard the man. Hit them, share it. We love you all. And then Ryan, for being a member 7 months, he says an honest person would just show the proof. Thank you very much, guys. Now
I don't listen. I'm a general debunker. Okay. I don't claim to be a scientist. I'm just here to have fun, man. Like I'm here to entertain. And like that's why I'm laughing so much, is because like you guys like I watch you guys, right? But here I am. Like I here I am talking to you guys. And like it's like watching you and being here are the same thing. I laugh at the same stuff, but like here I am on camera laughing. It's just mind blowing.
But you would understand that laughing is due to cognitive dissonance, though. It's the pain.
It's the pain. Yeah, it's the pain. I feel so painful. You're right. It hurts.
I'm just wondering.
So much. It tickles.
let me just ask you. Let me just ask you a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How can you so vehemently defend and support an actually ridiculous idea, but something that you don't have a single firsthand observation of?
Because I passed middle school.
Yeah, but you don't have.
I have a middle school understanding of science.
Well, that's what you were led to believe, but do you have any firsthand observation of what you actually think is going on at all? We already know that the education system does teach you things that are not true. They have done this for ages. Okay, we know that history is not true, not the way they teach it.
Yeah.
The only things that are actually true are the arithmetic, the reading, the fundamentals. The rest of it is all just conditioning.
Science
So,
is
so,
science. Science
so,
doesn't fit in there.
what you've done is you've taken for granted that smarter men than yourself have told you things, and you accepted it, and you were told you were smart for accepting it. You were told that you were smart because you accepted it, and not only did you accept it, you repeated it back to them exactly the way that it was told to you. And this was an indication that you were smart somehow.
So
Okay.
applying
Now, did you
what you're
really
learning and
question
validating
it?
what you're
Wait,
learning is
did you
what you do.
you never thought to ask any questions about the basic fundamentals of this ridiculous concoction that they're trying to tell you?
Did you
You
take
never
chemistry stuff?
wondered in one single minute, how it could possibly be that you could actually, despite no evidence of it, that you could actually have air with a vacuum of space next to it, that you can somehow, even though they tell you in physics class that you can only have one of two, actually, of three thermodynamic systems, open, closed, or isolated. And you then entertain the idea that you have both an open and a closed system at the same time thermodynamically. Does that really indicate smart? No, that's holding on to contradicting ideas and thinking them both to be true. That's kind of insane. There's a whole bunch of things that go along with that you just go ahead and accept, because let's face it, the better you repeat back to the teacher what they told you, the better your chances of getting out of that fucking prison is.
So
That's what you're concentrated
when
on.
was the last time you were in a classroom? So
Last time I was in a classroom was in 1983.
okay. So back in 1983, did they have you apply what you learned to verify your own data?
No, of
No.
course not. You just passed the test. In fact, I very rarely showed up to class. I only went on the no, listen. I went on the days, you want to hear this? Listen, I went on the days where they had tests, or if I didn't have anything better to do. Okay.
Okay.
And when they
All right.
had the test, I would take the test and I would pass the test because I knew exactly what they wanted to hear. I already knew the nonsense before I even stepped into that fucking government prison in the first place. I knew how to read before I went to school. I didn't
Congratulations.
need any of that fucking bullshit. And as soon as I found out I could quit, I did.
So
And I've had no need to go back.
So what you're saying is that you know how the education system works, yet you didn't get an education.
I did get an education.
You just
but
said
I
that you didn't go to class.
rejected it. Wait a second. I am learned. I'm not educated. Educated means you've been indoctrinated.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes, it does.
So the way that you learn, especially in your physics class and your chemistry class and all of those, is applying what you learned in your own experiments that you conduct. You do the experiments.
Yeah.
You like that's something that you do to verify that what they taught you.
Did you ever, as part of your schoolwork, verify that the Earth was indeed a globe and whirling around in a void at unconscionable speeds? How did you verify any of that, or did you just accept it?
If I went through extended learning to
No,
then do it
I'm
myself.
talking about your education system from the get-go, right off the bat. You mean you have to go pay somebody to be told this nonsense? No, you don't. No, you don't.
So
information is readily available.
We're taught how
somebody a year's fucking salary for them to tell you garbage to get a piece of paper, and you're a moron.
So first off, I wasn't throwing names around, right?
So, no, I'm not saying you're a moron. I'm saying that's somebody
you can tell me whatever you want. I don't
pay
care.
a year's salary to go listen to some fucking asshat yammer on about shit that you can go and find out for yourself easily and readily anytime you want to. We live in a day and age of information. Am I not correct? So why would you need the approval of the wizard?
Okay, so let me talk. Okay, for a little bit. All right. So in school, we're taught the basics of the basics, right? We're taught how physics works. Okay, the basics of physics. And if you have an understanding of the basics of physics, then you can understand how it's applied to everything around you. Okay. So then when you're taught that with those basics of the basic understanding of how physics works, then you're taught, okay, now apply this principle of this principle is applied to the Earth rotating, and you know, all that stuff. It's all just being applied. The basic fundamentals of physics is then applied to other things.
Well,
right? So if you have if you have a basic understanding of those physics, then you can understand how everything else works.
Well,
such as the rotation of the Earth.
Do you really have a fundamental understanding of those physics, or do you understand them as they've been told to you?
No, you can experiment. You can experiment and
just tell me. Then what experiment? What experiment, for instance?
Okay.
If you can actually test something, then yes, you have verifiable. That's a verifiable experiment. But then when you have some things that you can't prove, and then you start ascribing it out to Narnia land, especially there we are again with that problem of having an open and closed system at the same time. Wait a second, we have to go back to our basic physics and we have to understand, how in the hell did you get there in the first place? How did you get to Narnia land? We can't be an open system or we wouldn't have any air. We learned that too. We learned
that's
about
a misunderstanding of how it's applied.
We learned about gas behavior, didn't we? So we understand completely that if we were to take a box and seal it up with the ambient pressure of 14.7 or whatever it is, close in your area where you're at, boom, you seal it up. That pressure inside that box is going to be the same as the pressure outside the box. The claim is that the air, the box, and the vacuum chamber over here are all sitting on the Earth. They're all here because of gravity, right? So I'm going to put that little box inside the vacuum chamber and I reduce the pressure inside the vacuum chamber. I don't even take it down to just maybe 2/3 of what the one inside the box is, right? Because I got that 14.7 inside the box, right? So now I hit my little remote control and I open that box up. That air, 14.7, should remain in that box due to gravity, right?
So you understand this is kind of like a
would it remain in the box?
No, flat earthers such as yourself, all you do is say, oh, the globers need to get more material. The globers need to get more material. No. Do you know how many times I've heard this garbage out of your mouth?
Okay, so
how about some new material, please?
Why won't the air stay in the box?
New material, please.
We're waiting for an answer to these questions.
You're not going to get an answer from me, okay? Because I was in and out that whole time. Because I'm so sorry, I cannot take you seriously as a human being. All right?
Why?
You are
demonstrable experiment.
So you are my elder, okay? And I tend to have respect for my elders, okay? But I can't have respect for you because you are the epitome of human de-evolution. And it's like the words that are coming out of your mouth. I can't believe that a grown man is saying this stuff.
You're the one.
I'm not even going to answer it. I'm not even going to answer it. It's listen,
because you know that it.
I'm wrapping up here. I have a lot of super chats to go over, and I'm sure I have questions for you, Sav. Can I go through them, please?
Yeah.
All right. So Jack Feder for 199 says, sorry, giving Derfs this platform is just wrong. My 300 viewers doesn't disagree. Rosadante for $10 says, hey, Flurfs, when do you apply a test to test the validity of a hypothesis? How do you know what the outcome of the test was? What thing do you do to learn the test result?
Sorry, was this to me?
No, it was to kind of it was to hey Flurfs. So
they want to know the scientific method. That's what they're asking.
Okay, just say it again so I can just get more context.
Yeah. When you do apply a test to test the validity of a hypothesis, this is all in caps. How do you know what the outcome of what the outcome of the test was? What thing do you do to learn the test result?
Experiment. Analyze the experiment.
Yeah, fair enough. Mr. B for $2 for $2 Australian says gases still react to other forces. Yes, there are other forces that are applied to everything every day, all the time, everywhere. A Bates for $5 says Pythagoras, Archimedes, Euclid, Aristotle, Ptolemy, Aristophanes on one side, and Flats and these peanuts, sorry, deep thinkers on the other side. Yeah. Oh.
That didn't make any sense whatsoever. I like
No.
Euclid. I like Euclidean
You know what's
geometry. I like
interesting?
his principles.
You know what's interesting? Let's take for instance Aristophanes. There's no evidence the guy even ever existed.
That's true. This is fact.
Bunch of dead Greeks versus some actual people.
I mean, with that same logic, though, you could also say that there's no proof that Luke existed, right? Other than there's a book in the Bible named Luke.
No, it's definitely Luke existed. How else would he write the book of Luke?
Well, it could have been a guy named Kyle.
Was it?
But you do know, but there is manuscripts. There is manuscripts that show that Luke existed there.
Well, there's manuscripts that show that Aristophanes existed too.
And Shakespeare and such like.
The only information ever came about Aristophanes was 300 years later, after the so-called Library of Alexandria burned down with all his documentation and works in it.
Good Lord, what a shame. I have a trucker pilot. Sorry, what? Oh, sorry. I thought you were.
They haven't found any of his documentation. It was all burned down in Alexandria. Therefore, there's no validity to his story.
But his experiment has been obviously repeated multiple times.
What experiment?
Sure.
Still not an
What
experiment.
experiment?
The light angles and
It's not an experiment.
The observation with the assumption of a globe. He didn't go to prove a globe. He already thought the Earth was a globe. He was just merely trying to measure it. He also assumed the distance of a light source. He assumed sphericity. I can do the same type of spherical math on my kitchen floor using shadows of 2 spray cans and come up with that my floor is a fucking globe.
So I have a mission for you. Replicate Aristophanes. Can you do that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, do it.
We had tons of people.
No, not locally. No,
Local
not locally.
lights are
Yeah,
painted.
locally.
No. What I want you to do? No, I want you to go out, touch grass, and on at the Tropic of Cancer or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Go and do this experiment. And I want.
Would you like to my Cash App or my PayPal?
Your Cash App will be fine.
So that you can fund this expedition.
Yeah, sure. Cash App. Send it in chat.
Yeah, so we're going to need probably about $40,000 to start.
Listen, I'm not Will Duffy. I'll give you like $5, and then
No,
we'll see what
$5
you can do
ain't
with
going to get me down the street, bro.
No, $5 will get you the shovel to dig the tunnel, to dig the well. I got a trucker pilot for $5. Says Flurf wants a mini planet with mini physics in a lab on a ladder and a bucket. Sovereign soul, a grown man with the intellect of a rock. That's what I was saying.
That's all you can say when you don't have anything logical.
Ooh, little twitch going on the cheek. Twitch.
Oh, I do Twitch. My whole face twitches. So,
I thought
so I'm sure they.
I thought it was maybe because you were triggered.
No. I have Tourette's, so it's
Oh, have you? You've got Tourette's.
I've got a question.
not the fun type of Tourette's, though.
Is that why the incessant laughing?
No, it's just because you guys are so funny.
I know
And I laugh on my stream the whole freaking time. So like me laughing, this is just my shtick, right? Because I find a lot of things funny because I'm very happy, right? I'm very content.
Be a hoot on acid, man.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't. No, dude, I do not trip well. I would not. No, give me. No, I'll take some of these and then and yeah, I'll be fine. You know, I'll giggle away. No, they're it's THC. Is that just edibles?
Yeah, they got these mushroom candy bars, right?
They do.
And I got a hold of one, man, and it said it was 4.6 grams of psilocybin, and I thought, well, shit, I've done 4.6 grams of mushrooms before.
Oh no, dude, it's different,
dude. I got about halfway through that thing, and I was like, oh shit. That's not the mushrooms. They took the mushroom part out. It's just the psilocybin. Oh my god, I was tripping.
It's concentrated, dude.
Dude, I know somebody. I'm not gonna drop names or anything. But he went on vacation. He got one of these bars, and he took just a little piece It was a Wonka bar, and he took a little piece, and he was done for the day. Jack Feder for $5 says, dig a hole next to it. Dig a hole next it. Dig a hole next it what he just dropped. He didn't lift it now, so if he slides it into the hole, does it float?
No, it also falls because you create more potential.
Yeah, I think I stroked out while reading that.
Yeah, the medium inside the hole is the same as it is above the hole, dude. Sorry to tell you that. I think we did.
Remember when I say it's got an unbalanced force? It's still supported by the ground. As soon as you're going to dig a hole and that ground gives way, it can only go down. You put
an equilibrium.
Energy into the system. You expended energy when you dug that hole, by the way.
All right. Iceman for two Canadians says, dude, ask him what weight is.
Weight is just a measure. Just a measure of an object on a scale.
It's an arbitrary
unit given for a measure on a scale.
I would say that weight is a quantification of the relative density of an object within a given medium.
Yeah, the density is what I was going to go with.
Because the weight changes in a given medium. That's why they use the standard as water.
All right. Oh my God, Dave McKeegan was in my chat. Holy shit! Yeah. Dave McKeegan for £2 says, "I only have my super chat window open. Don't even have my comments open. So holy shit." Dave McKeegan, hello, welcome. Then higher density would equal increased acceleration.
Well, let's put it to physics. If something's denser, it takes more energy to move than something that's less dense. So in other words, it uses more of its energy up quicker. So it takes longer for it to accelerate compared to something that's less dense, and therefore it accelerates at the same rate. In other words, small objects accelerate quicker. Big object takes longer to accelerate, but they all meet at the same point and accelerate at the same rate.
And the higher you go, the less dense the medium tends to be on our Earth. So it's going to go faster.
Okay. Brenda Creates for $2 says, ask Flatzoid to prove 2 + 1 = 3.
It's a mathematical proof. So what's it got to do with anything what you just spoke about?
I don't know. That was from like an hour ago.
I wouldn't answer anything that Brenda asks anyway. I wouldn't answer anything.
All right, let's see. The Grumpy Old Mechanic for $10. Well, thank you so much. Says, Flatzoid, when do you plan to make $500 from me for a couple hours reading 20 abstracts from the Journal of Geophysical Research and the Journal of Astronomy and Astrophysics?
How many times have I explained it to this guy?
I'm sure you explained it a lot.
Yeah, so I'm not even going to say I'm just going to say skip because I'm tired of saying the same thing to the guy.
All right. Second best Bob says for £2, nice to be here. Flatzoid won't let me in.
Oh God, again.
I don't need help. Listen, I'm just having fun here. Just like Flatzoid said, we're all here just for entertainment, man. Like MC Toon, FTFE, you guys, we're all here for entertainment. Ollie for €2 says the volume does not create sunlight type shadows.
Yes, it does. Wait for my other video I'm working on where you can literally, it explains how you get shadows because the volume uses actual light. It's LEDs. So it's a bit difficult not to get shadows if you have actual light hitting you.
So the light would be all around you, though. So there wouldn't be any shadows.
The volume usually goes past a 180, but you can make it go further if you want to. And they've even upgraded the volume to even work using the floor LEDs as well. So,
Jay Heighton, no, this is literally what all my streams are like, and I watch them back, and I love my streams. So it's not nervous laughter. It is genuine. I'm having a great time laughter. So the Grumpy Old Mechanic for $5 says, Flatzoid, which of the thousands of peer-reviewed scientific papers on the data and samples from NASA missions have you proven fake?
Oh my God.
Has any of them been proven to be true?
What the fuck is that?
Well, the peer review process would.
Well, let's put it this way:
No.
is peer review based on consensus and making money, or is it based on actual science, which it's supposed to be?
Well, it depends on if you have a conspiratorial mind or a scientific mind, I guess.
No,
Talk about reality, dude.
it's actually been shown that it has become a money grab. They only give peer reviewed to publishings for that give money.
Yeah, it's a money scheme, dude.
Okay.
It is.
Who says the conspiracy theorists?
We're not theorists, dude. No.
There's actual cases. There's actual cases
I
being
love
on
it.
this. Man. There's actual
Oh my
cases.
God.
around.
This is surreal.
Not
I'm in
conspiratorial.
Disneyland right now. Emma M says
hope
for
not.
€2, grow it to Flatzoid for being nice to awesome Mike.
That's
I
nice.
don't see a reason for being mean to.
No, we're not gonna be mean.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys come on my show sometime. The grumpy old mechanic for $2 says, was the rolled Amundsen expedition fake?
Huh?
The rolled Raould? I don't know. Oh, Amundsen, is that the one
Is that Freemason that said he went across the Antarctica and all he did was go in, turn, come out at another spot?
That's
That was
the
him.
weird. But that's the weird thing about these people trying to say that traverse Antarctica. Every time they get to the South Pole, they take a hard left or a hard right.
Like Bugs Bunny going Albuquerque. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was in 1923 or 1923, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I wasn't there, man.
Yeah, I was.
You do know
I
it's
was
easy also
sparkle in
to
my
have
great grandfather's eye.
Yeah, right.
and it's easy to have a logbook just to say you did something, especially in 1923 when no one was able to actually track anything you've done.
All right, let's do that. All right. Eric Burns for $5 says, as an astronomer, this was painful to listen to. Flatzoid, are you saying I'm a liar since I've done actual research and teach astronomy for a living?
No, again, like I was saying, that's not what I was saying. You do obviously observe things in what you call space. We're saying it's not scientific because there is no validatable independent variable that you manipulate. It's all correlative, so therefore it cannot be science. There's no science or experiment in astronomy. It's only observation. That's it.
It's category error, dude. It's just like the science. It's astronomy. It's a difference.
Yeah. And by the way, astronomy is awesome. If you have a telescope and you love it, I'm not banging anybody down. Do it. I think it's an awesome thing to observe the things in the sky. I just have an issue if you take it and say, "Oh, look, I see this thing. I know what it is, and I'm telling you this is what it is." That to me is idiotic. Because
I'm excited. I'm excited for the 25th where all the planets are going to be aligned. That's going to be cool. I'm actually.
Last time that happened was 1776.
Isn't that insane? And we're never going to see it again for our lifetime.
And imagine that, all this happening with a globe moving around in 4 different vectors and imaginal speeds constantly.
Yeah, it's fun, dude. It's awesome. Trucker Pilot for $9.99 says, nowhere in the globe model does it say there's gas pressure next to a container. Atmospheric pressure decreases with altitude, approaching 0 at the top. Flatzoid Sovereign, please explain and cite.
Already did. Remember when I showed you 1, 2, and 3?
Mm-hmm.
Already explained it.
Approaching 0.
He paid $10 for that citation.
It's finding its equilibrium. All the gases do that. Yeah.
We live in a dynamic
nature.
We live in a dynamic
approaching 0. It doesn't go to 0.
Yeah, you can't go negative.
Correct.
You can try to get a negative you can freeze gases, but that's about it.
But yeah, it's simple. The gas pressure gradient first requires gas pressure, and for gas pressure, it requires the containment. So the guy's question's anyway redundant.
It's not much different than as you feel greater pressure as you go into the depths of water, where it starts out really strong at the bottom of a pool. As you rise to the top, it becomes less and less, and finally you come out and you don't feel the pressure of the water anymore. It's just due to the displacement. In order to have the air pressure, it has to be measured by the displacement of the confined fluid, which, of course, if it has nowhere else to go, it desperately wants to be where you are, and therefore exerts a pressure against your body as your body exerts a pressure against it. The air pressure we feel is inward in all directions on every vector of your body. It's not a downward pushing on your body. It's going in all different directions. And as you displace the confined fluid, you're going to feel the pressure. If there was no confinement, it would be much like walking into a bank of fog. You don't feel any displacement pressure when you walk into a bank of fog because there's room for it to give way.
Would you say it's etherically displaced?
What?
I'm just joking. It was a joke. All right. Thank you for that.
Can I ask Sav a question right quick? With an experiment, how would you go about showing this pressurized system? What would be the first thing you need to actually show this in the actual physical experiment? You would need a containment, right?
Container, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, show at a very small.
Well,
base, yeah.
you can do it on a large scale too,
like a planetary scale.
You wouldn't have it.
Well, let's take a look at the Astrodome.
Is the Astrodome
a pressure? That's got a little dynamic pressure system going on inside.
Is that an entire planet?
No,
or is that on the Earth?
What would scale have to do with anything at all?
It would have to have its own mass to or mass big enough to.
How do you get a cohesive mass out of something that won't bond together? You have to gather it together in some place.
All right, we've already been through this. All right, the grumpy old mechanic for $5 says the Venerable Bede, 8th century, demonstrated that the Earth is spherical. The Venerable Bede.
I've never heard of it.
Neither
Let's look it up.
Respected beat.
There's poop coming out of my mouth. That's hilarious.
Also known as Saint Bede. The Venerable Bede is Latin. Okay. Let's see how he proved it. Was an English monk, author and scholar. He is one of the greatest teachers and writers during early Middle Ages, and most famous work, Ecclesiastical History of the English People. He served as a monastery. I don't see where he proved it's a sphere.
Maybe it just takes a
what
little
year?
bit more.
What year was it?
Oh, I don't know.
1672.
And he was a monk. This means he was
No, 670. Sorry, 672.
Okay.
Yeah, 8th century. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to look more into this, but I don't see anything that's even speaking that he proved anything of a globe there.
Yeah, there's food for thought.
Yeah,
for sure. My YouTube thing is going to crash. Does that happen? Oh, you guys use not YouTube. Okay. Dave McKeegan for $5 says Sav is on record talking to Will Duffy saying if the sunset is south of us in Chile, then the Earth is a globe. Thinking face.
Yeah, early on when I was talking to him about that, I said that would mean that we're on a globe, right? And as I thought on it further, I was like, no, that wouldn't mean that at all, because that would mean you'd have to shit can no proof of convexity, all of the other mountains of evidence. So what I concluded was that if there was a 24-hour sun seen in the south, that would mean that there is either an anomaly with the sun that we don't understand, or there is some fuckery afoot. And as we found, there was the latter. So what?
So you were able to change your position. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
People change positions.
Mm-hmm. It's like doing science.
Exactly like doing science. That's what and this is what I find so ironic, that people claim you deny science. And I'm like, no, I deny pseudoscience. If you're going to call something science, it has to follow the scientific method.
This is good. All right, Penguin J for $5 says, Flurfs, where's your evidence? Where's your model? How far away is the sun or moon? How large is your flat Earth? Explain tides.
We don't need to do any of those things because we're not the ones with the claim. But as for tides, I already did give a actual demonstration in the fish tank how tides work in reality. It's just got to do with thermodynamic processes, and because we have thermohaline currents and wind and topography, that's why we have tides.
All right. Nick N for $5, the 20th super chat. Thank you so much. They are stuck on the coastline paradox. The more accurately you measure a coastline, the longer it is.
Go ahead and measure Antarctica on Google Earth and tell me what you come up with.
I think they mean in
I
going
think
down
I
there.
think Antarctica has so much issues because it's an approximate. It's not actually being based on cartography. I think Antarctica is just an approximate evaluation.
Here's a good one. King Ed V for $2. Thank you so much. Says the parameter of Russia is 59,000 kilometers.
Yeah, but Russia's huge.
Yeah, that's true. Nathan for 50. I forget what. Oh, you bastard! Sorry. Oh my God, did I lose? Please tell me I didn't lose all these. There's so many. If you have some super chats to go over it, definitely do those because it's gonna take me a minute to get all these back. All right, here we go. All right, I got it. All right, Nathan for 50 something. Thank you so much. I can fit a 50,000 mile line across my wrist. A 50,000 mile line. Oh yeah. I guess you're right. Right? Would that be like? I don't know what that's referring to. Remind them, man small, Earth big. Thank you, Nathan. Let's see. David for 499 says, draw a Masonic Satanist pentagram. Which is longer, the trace of the circle or the trace of the star? Welcome to second grade math. I guess that's around about the perimeter. Signet Stop for $2 says prediction: Bills 30, Ravens 28. Count on it. I'll put that. I'll put that in my squares that I'll buy. Scuba Drew video for $2 says you are wrong with the Venn globe, speed and distance.
That's for yourself.
Do what?
The you are wrong with the Venn globe, speed and distance. Is that the boat race?
Okay. What was it then? I know it wasn't any more than like 5 knots.
There's no substantiation here.
Oh, okay.
Just saying you're wrong.
Oh, okay.
Just
You're welcome. You're welcome to cope and believe that if you wish. But we could spend an entire show talking about navigational errors that have taken place due to people thinking that they were on a globe and ending up in places that they shouldn't be, smashing against rocks and all kinds of things like that, due to trying to follow these false meridians that are projected by the globe. So, you can go ahead, and if you really want to think you live on a twirly water ball that defies all science and physics, that's your prerogative. I don't care.
Fair enough. Mr. B for $5 Australian says, Sov has proven your point about being science deniers by saying nuh-uh to all the science you brought up.
There was
I vaguely brought up science. There
was no science brought up. There were stories with science attached to it. Somebody saying the word science does not make something science. One of the most ridiculous things anybody could ever say is trust the science. That was one of the dumbest ass things I ever heard.
Or my favorite is really good engineering.
Yeah.
Love that. That's something that my dad would say. It's so good. Mr. Jingles for £2 says, this is so funny. Even my wife is watching it. I'm glad we can entertain.
I like how he denigrated his wife in that too, like that. Even my wife, it's like even my dog's watching too, it's like, wow, dude.
Well, let me tell you, my wife has no interest in my interests. So when I was like, oh, Flatzoid is going to be on my show, she goes, who the fuck is Flatzoid?
Alice.
So I can understand that testament. Nathan for 125. I really wish I knew what these were with that currency. How do you study something you can't see? Observe its effects. Observe its effect objects around. Observe how it affects objects around it. Also, yes, we have a picture of a black hole. Lamau.
No, the so-called picture was data taken, ones and zeros, and then they did it in Photoshop.
There we go. Jack Feder for
because the thing is, you can't take a picture of no light. That's why I say they try and take the event horizon, which they claim, and say, look, black hole.
There you go. Jack Feder for $10 says, the old guy that thinks you impart energy to an object by lifting it, hence now it falls that wants to fall is asking, is the best we can do in the 21st century is just precious? It's,
You do know that's Newton's first law in practice.
yeah. But okay, well, we're gonna move on from that because I didn't listen. My education is that of high school. All right, I didn't go to college, so and that was what.
And I want to say, good for you. Good for you.
2006.
That's wise. People paying this kind of money to go in there. Listen, we had physics professor from the University of California, Nick Volt.
Oh yeah, Nick Volt. I remember that guy.
He came on my show, and I'm sorry, he got destroyed.
Hmm.
Well, he only came on once or twice, and then he ended up seeing he's not going to get anywhere, and then he tried his luck by you. Yeah.
I was like, ladies and gentlemen, listen. This is, I just said, this is what you pay in a year's salary for your kids. That's
So
right.
he went from Flatzoid to Yusov?
I don't know. I don't know the order.
He didn't come right with me because he kept on getting demolished, and then he tried by solving. The same thing happened to him. Now he's not there anymore either.
The guy got so angry, and I didn't do anything mean to him or anything. I didn't call him names or anything. He got really upset. He got drunk and then said he was going to come here to my town and fight me.
Oh, come on. That's so
I'm not kidding you, man. I'm not kidding you. This is
I believe you. I believe you. It was just threatening violence over this shit.
You gotta be kidding me. I said, okay. And then to make matters worse, he said, then he wanted me to pick him up from the airport, which means I'd have to drive up to DC to pick him up. You know, so we can come back here.
So you had to pay for it as well, yeah. Roger Little, thank you for $5. He says, how did they get level LIGO? How did they level LIGO? Just a question for the guest.
I haven't watched. I honestly, I haven't even watched the video. I just know how they built it. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, probably with calculations.
Water. Woohoo! Yeah. What did Bruce Lee always say?
Water.
Always finds his level.
Oh, that's good. Jack Fenner for $2 says, forcing me to contribute by interviewing chimps. They don't look like chimps. Yeah, whatever.
This is a common thing. This is a common thing, Mike, is that these this triggers a response in people. And nothing we've said here, everything we've said is demonstrable. And this triggers people in their cognitive dissonance so hard that lacking any logical refutation, they just resort to that kind of thing right there. Oh, you guys are a bunch of monkeys. Oh, you're stupid. Oh, you deny science. And I'm like, man, I'm invoking the scientific method. You're the one denying it. So I think it's really interesting. I've been studying how this works on people's minds for quite some time. Flatzoid did a documentary about it.
Obsessed, right?
Well, just people resort. What I found is a lot of people resort to the mental maturity level they were at when this programming took place. They'll go right from having the discussion to, oh, you're dumb, your mom eats poop. I mean, like that. Mm-hmm. Like that, and particularly over this subject.
Yeah. I don't see any value in that, honestly. that's not how we do. So JD for £10 says one shot. Oh, he wants me to take a shot. Dude, I don't, dude, it's Sunday, man. I don't have any liquor. Professor Phil Bell, holy moly. For fantastic job last night, by the way. For $2 Australian, let's get together and have fun going over this show.
Yeah, and can you ask Professor Phil Bell to please still bring me his thermodynamic demonstration I asked for 2 years ago? He was on my show. He was on my show 2 years ago, and we were debating thermodynamics. And he thought I didn't know anything, and yet he ended up saying, yeah, great. And then he said he's going to do a demonstration, which I'm still waiting for him to do.
All right. Well, hopefully he's still here to hear that. NASA Security Force for $5 says LIGO is flat and level, but if you put a beach ball at each end, they will roll towards the middle. Flat Earth can't explain that.
Wait, so you're saying it's flat and level, and they put a beach ball and it rolls on a flat and level surface? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I definitely 100% want to see that. That is that's very interesting. I'm sure there's a very interesting reason for it.
Well, we got a place here in South Africa where you can park your car and it drives south uphill because of the magnetic fault lines.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Literally drives uphill by itself.
I thought you said it drives south. I was like, oh wait, what? No, it drives uphill. Yeah. I've seen that on and then I've seen that on paranormal shows, and there's like one person who like put a bunch of dirt or something on the back, and they're like, oh, look at all this child's hands that are on it. Like, oh, the children are pushing it up. Like, dude, no.
It's haunted.
Exactly. So Penguin J for $2 says, y'all claim Earth flat. Please provide evidence. Yes, the never-ending question.
Shows it's flat.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. Again, reversal fallacy. Everyone on this panel observes a level topographical plane. Not a single one of us has a first-hand observation of a globe Earth. We experience a level stationary plane. The claim that goes against the observational reality is that the Earth is a globe that is turning and whirling and doing all this other nonsense. So the burden of proof lies upon those claiming the globe. The observation remains the default.
There we go. There's your answer. Disturbic 56 says the collision of your two brain cells is undeniable proof of gravity. Is that to me? Because that's freaking hilarious. All right. Nathan for 125. I don't know that currency. Years of experiments and testing defeated by a random idiot drawing in Microsoft Paint.
By the way, I use Paint just to piss Sean Hawkins off. So thanks, Sean Hawkins.
JD63 for $10 says, I couldn't look away. Thank you so much for the $10. Oh, I missed one. Bill Tutley for $2 says, sovereign citizen, sovereign soul, sorry, Unchained Mind, Chong looking motherfucker of the year.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, he's iconic, man.
Yeah, no shit, man. I was wearing a bandana headband and a jean jacket, and I was in Vegas. There was this dude. They come up to me and these guys, and they were like, Tommy Chong. And I was like, no, man, I'm not Tommy Chong. And my glasses, I used to have JL style glasses. They were round glasses. And they were like, no, you are too. And they were taking selfies with me and shit. But yeah, I think Tommy Chong is awesome. Karen B went ballistic one night and started calling me that on a panel and shit. I was just laughing my ass off. She got mad because she was going on about how hard it is to turn the chroma key off on your computer. And I was like, all I did was just click and turned it on, then went click and turned it off. And I see how hard that was. And she's like, I'm tired of this Chong motherfucker.
Well, she did also say, Witsit didn't vape. He had water that looks like a cup of water. I was like, what?
Well, my interpretation of it was, because the initial interpretation was that you guys said he was vaping. So I went through the video. I went by frame from you guys' video, and I was like, well, I mean, he does do something like put his hand up to his mouth, right? But I was so blinded by my blind faith that Witsit wasn't lying, and I was like, well, he could be like picking his tooth, he could be adjusting his like itching his nose, he could be doing anything. But
I was sharing. So did he punch himself in the face?
Oh man, it's just whatever. It's funny. Mr. Jingles for £2 says, I used to believe in evolution until I met Flurfs.
Well, we did something good then.
Well, yeah. That's good. I understand that's an insult, but it's also good that you don't believe in evolution now.
Yeah, that's boy, there's a pseudoscience.
Dark Star 4400 for $5 says, I wish Flirts would stop relying on YouTube videos and study actual science.
Yeah,
I wish learners would actually understand that you require science to claim science.
There we go. Oh, that goes. It's funny. It's one of the greatest things that I've seen with this whole debate is both sides say the exact same thing, right? It's like what you just said, right? Science, the study of science requires science. Like and the irony of you saying that, you know, nuh-uh, versus this person saying nuh-uh, like it's all. It's,
yeah, we see
it's
the difference though, Mike, is this is like when I asked you earlier, let's go through the scientific method. And we say, okay, what's the hypothesis? They can't even get past hypothesis. You see, we actually take it to the method. All we get from the globe side is, nah, you're a fluff, you're dumb. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Go beyond hypothesis into the science aspect of it. And it's like, I find this all the time, Facebook, wherever else. I say, okay, well, let's talk about the science of this. And boy, they don't want to. Right off the bat, right into Narnia land, right off the bat. You know, and I'm like, well, wait a second. I thought we were talking about physics. Do you want to talk about physics, or are you talking about theoretical physics? Theoretical physics has no... I like the way I heard the other day. It's like, look at these. A lot of this shit it's not even in the realm of science. It's nothing that we can test, nothing that we can modulate, nothing that we can touch, nothing that we can actually examine beyond long distance observation. And that's not science. Looking at shit in the sky and making up stories about what you think is going on is not science.
All right, fair enough. Roland for $2 Canadian says, why can't you flurfs understand scale?
I do understand scale. That's why I know that the ISS could actually be an object 1/10 the size that they claim it to be, 1/10 the distance they claim it to be, and going 1/10 the speed that it could be, and you would be no wiser of it being that way. You have no frame of reference. This is like these distances to the stellar objects. You have to have a frame of reference to start with.
Well, let's put it this way. Earth too big to see boat go over curve at 3 miles, but Earth small enough to see boat go over curve at 3 miles.
All right. Nathan for 125 says, so before he gets an operation, he studies how to become a surgeon to make sure this doctor is telling the truth.
I don't trust the doctors to begin with, man. Listen, when you rig something up, we say, look there, I doctored it up so it works. Okay. I would prefer to have a physician if and when I need one. But so far, staying away from those ghouls has been the key to longevity. Customer cured is a customer lost.
Flatzoid, I'm going to send you a fan, dude, like a desk fan. It must get pretty hot over there in the summer.
Send me a heater while you're at it. Look, I just got a thing up here. It's going to be 10 to 15 degrees below zero tonight, man.
It's 25 degrees Celsius as we speak right now, and it is 11 p.m. at night.
2 degrees Celsius. Yeah, it feels like zero.
It is 0 degrees here Celsius, but we're also going to be getting a foot of snow tonight, so that'll be fun. Jack Feder for $2 says, I just had an aneurysm. I just dropped D. ... Dark Star 4400 for $2 says, I'm glad my orthopedic surgeon finished school. CJ for the five gifted memberships. Thank you so much, CJ. That is you're the supplier of memberships on my channel. The grumpy old mechanic for $5 says, why do these people have so much contempt for hard work and expertise?
What hard work and what expertise? I could be an expert in fucking Dungeons and Dragons. It doesn't make me useful to society, does it?
Well, it makes you a really good dungeon master.
Well, so what? How does that contribute to anything?
So, I mean, if you have an astronomer, let's just stick with that, I guess, that is hard work and expertise in astronomy. I mean, then, they'd be a really good astronomer.
Okay. And beyond looking at those things in the sky, what else?
Well, all right, I was just using it as an example.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying astronomy's not cool. I'm just saying it's not science. There's no science involved
Yeah.
with it.
And some people actually do work hard at deceiving people.
Sogs here says it is hot because Flatzoid brought the heat. I know this in the private chat, but I felt like that was applicable. Darkstar 4400 for $10 says, does the school hating Flurf believe the people who built the computer he's using were self-taught and used his ass backwards understanding of physics?
Oh, ass backwards understanding of physics. Listen, buddy, you're welcome to come on my show if you'd like to this evening, and we can discuss all the physics you want to. Keep it in the realm of reality, of course. I don't really give a shit, you know. These people made a computer. I'm sure that they went together and collaborated and learned what they needed to do with electronics and things that we can physically touch, modulate, and manipulate and use, unlike what you claim to be science of looking up in the sky and telling fantastical stories of physical impossibilities. I'm sorry, you have a poor understanding of what physics are. You have a poor understanding of what science is, and I'll just leave it at that.
All right, fair enough. Jacket for $2 says, ask him to describe the definition of vacuum.
Who is this for me?
Um,
Very simple. Okay. It is entropy, second law of thermodynamics. The high pressure is forcing the air and the dust around it into the vacuum cleaner.
Or a vacuum can be defined as a privation of matter.
Yeah, a low pressure system, and therefore always high to low, and therefore the air around it forces itself into the system, and therefore you have a vacuum cleaner, and that's what pushes all the dust into it. And this is what would happen to Earth and the space vacuum, you guys claim. If it's open, the air we breathe will force itself into space.
Vacuum cleaner doesn't suck. It causes the air outside of the vacuum cleaner to push into it. When you see something collapse because you reduce the pressure inside of it, it's not because it's sucked in. It's because the outside air pushed it in.
All right. All right. I feel like that's a good what we're gonna get. Jack Fighter for $2 says, geez, he said when you lift it, you impart energy. That was what the This is my see-through pen. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, but I mean, let's say if I pick up my cup, I'm expending energy to pick it up. So I'm putting energy into the system. It's the same as if you do exercise, you burn calories. It's actual energy.
Iceman for $2 Canadian says his answer of weight is wrong. Weight equals mg, mass times gravity.
G can be changed to an A for acceleration, and you get the exact same thing. The G is assumptive of a cause for the observed effect.
Yeah,
all the G represents is an observed effect. That's all.
It's the same issue you guys have with Archimedes' principle and density and buoyancy, because Archimedes' principle predates gravity by 1,900 years. They had ships and things floating on the ocean using Archimedes' principle without gravity even being postulated, so they didn't even know about it. Why? Because the G was never there. It was just placed on displacement of densities.
All right. So I know, Flatzoid, I don't. Do you have time for me to go over the rest of this? We've been on for 3 hours.
Quite late. Yeah, it's actually quite late. You can do it in your own show if you still want to, but I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it too for having me. And if I got abrasive, I'm not really a confrontational person. I am again. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a representation of the globe. I'm here for entertainment purposes only. Anything you take out of context is immediately discredited. but feel free. Yeah, I agree. To the other panel members, I love the memes that you're putting down here. They've been fantastic this entire time. I've been getting a chuckle out of them. So you're the pastor on the bottom right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were on the show the other day for the first time?
Yeah, that's me.
I just want to say hi because I haven't heard from you at all.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I've been in and out all day, and it's been great.
No, that's fine.
I've been listening off and on.
All right, cool. Well, it's nice
saying hi to me.
Yeah. You know.
You too. You too.
All right, guys. Enjoy. Thank you for having me on. I'm going to go over the rest of my chat, and then we're going to go from there. All right. And,
Blessings,
thanks,
man.
guys.
Nice,
Thanks
man.
for coming,
Okay.
Mike. Have a
Ta-ta.
ta-ta. Yeah. So, how's it going, guys?
Yeah.
Hey guys.
That was
Yeah.
interesting.
It was interesting. Friendly enough. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got a giggling sensation. He's got a giggling fixation going on there, like. But,
Well, that
or is
cognitus
it
was
giggling
kicking.
demon?
That cognitus was kicking hard on him, man. It really was, and I could see it. That's why he did get a little heated like that, because it was like, and there again, even with the people sending those chats, it was like nothing of refutation, just stupid. Oh, you probably eat crayons or some stupid shit like that. And I'm like, oh my God, man, come on. I run into that all day long on Facebook too, and it cracks me up. I've got these guys so freaking mad at me on here. So mad. And I haven't even done anything. All I've done is just logically refute everything that they've put out. And then when they go to the ad homs, I'll go, oh, I'm sorry, that's not proof of what I asked for. Can you try again? And that makes them even madder because I don't jump into their little game. I love it, man.
Yeah, but the only thing I would say is, because I didn't really want to get into it with him when we were talking, was his Catholicism belief. Maybe I should organize a chat with him to talk specifically about Catholicism and how it doesn't follow biblical scripture. But that's the only thing that was really bothering me with him. But this whole thing that was going on with the cognitive dissonance, I expected that anyway, because it is very difficult for them to accept anything brought to as fact. So, but as a guy overall, I think he's a cool guy. I've got no issues with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought so too. I've never heard Saul debate like that, so I was really interested. I was learning some things, so appreciate
Yeah,
the knowledge.
If Sov gets into it,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why I just keep quiet. Like, yeah, go ahead, Sov. Do you think?
Yeah, he was doing
Yeah.
it.
He's
I
so-
was
he's so
okay.
good. I just sit back and leave them to it when that happens. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, there was like, go get
The flat
a
earth ninjas.
degree. Go, why aren't you listening to this? Appeal to a fallacy, to authority, and so yeah, I have a master's degree. I don't know. I had to do it to teach, so. But you're right. It's indoctrination, man. Like once I found out about Earth and true Earth, the way it is, I'm a history teacher, and so I started questioning my textbook because I had to teach this. So I had to change a lot of different things. So I would start asking questions of them instead of stating as fact. I'm very clear about this is a theory, and winners write history. And so when we're talking about certain wars and battles and things like that, I have to. It's important to change that and ask them questions. Why do you think this is, and where because you get caught into you're the one indoctrinating them, and a science teacher across is teaching them planets and gravity and all this stuff, and she can't do it. She dropped out. She couldn't do it because she's come to the truth about our realm, and so it's important. Like when I'm teaching young people, I always tell them, don't take my word for it. Just because I've got a degree in all this and he sounds, don't ever do it. You search the answers. I want to come with thinkers, free thinkers. Think for yourself. I always teach them that, and so I've changed the way I've been teaching. This is my 12th year. I've changed the way I've taught because, I was like, wow, they're lying to us, man, big time, and so it's kind of weird because I think of it as this way, especially being a teacher, a pastor, I'm behind enemy lines, because they want to indoctrinate, but I want to teach the truth, and and you can't, push your faith to them. You have to, they'll just come to it. But anyway,
my wife has told me, and other people have told me too, so, man, if I'd had you for a history teacher, I would have definitely paid attention. And it's because I take it from what I call a xenoscopic standpoint.
Okay.
I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care if Grandpa was at Normandy. Okay. I don't have a
Right.
dog in the fight. Two kids on the schoolyard got into an argument. And it came to a fisticuffs. Let's
Yeah.
examine what really happened.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you get a more clear picture of what was going on. I did that with my kids. I mean, we went up to Gettysburg, and
Yeah.
I walked them through the entire battle, place by place, in chronological order, but
Okay.
was also putting them in the battle.
Yeah.
You know, I want you to imagine you're standing here and there's, 50,000 blue bodies in front of you, just right over there.
Yeah.
And they're
Right.
shooting cannons and all this stuff's blowing up around you. And the guy back here says, you guys close ranks and go forward. Now, what's going on? What's going through your head? And
Yeah.
my son, he's like, well, I'd turn around and go the other way. And I said, no. They had these guys back there. That's what the sergeant's job was. He stood back there with a sword and a pistol. And if you turned and went the other way, he'd shoot you. So you're definitely going to get shot if you run.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like, man, so he really put him
Yeah.
into the historical event itself.
I love the subject of history because I always tell the kids, hey, there's stories, and you're right, Saul, to give them different perspectives and ask different questions, and so it gives them down the rabbit hole of kind of discovery themselves because like you said, I don't want to fall in a trap of indoctrination. Well, this is why, I want to leave an open door to say no. What do you think about this, or what caused that? Hey, did you realize that the winners get to write these books? Like that blew their mind. Whoa, that's right. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So there's possible other ways to, anyway, it's all exploration and discovery, even in history.
I remember also doing some history class with King Sharka and stuff. And I remember when I was in primary school, what they taught us had changed when I got to high school. It's like, but this wasn't what was taught to me. The same history timeline. Now it's changed all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's weird. They changed just little things.
They took divine providence from the young corporal of George Washington in the French and Indian War. They took that story away, and it's a primary resource that this chief was firing at. His sniper rifles his sharpshooters were hitting him 7 times, it says. And this is a historical document. And we were not hitting him. The Indian looks at this chief, says, I'm not hitting him, sir. I can't hit this guy. He says, lower your weapon. What it says is, his recount is, the God of the spirit of the sky is telling me that he has divine protection around him, and someday he will rule a nation. Okay, isn't that like, I was like, what? This is on a PhD wrote this. I have it, and I tell the story. It's out of the textbooks. It's not there.
Yeah.
And I'm telling the story of these kids. I'm saying this is the primary resource. This is you could read this for yourself, because later that chief meets the George Washington later on post battle, and that's how they're able to connect it to history. Okay, so because later he wants to meet the guy that was in the battle, because they were getting absolutely shredded, guys, because the natives were very they were all about guerrilla warfare. And the British were idiots. We were just standing out in the middle with red coats on.
They were using
Remember, they also had no fear. They just went for it.
Yes.
Well, it's like Napoleonic warfare tactics, against guerrilla warfare. This is one of the reasons that, like Mosby's Raiders right here where I live, were there was only like 22 guys total in the whole outfit. And they took it like there were 9 of them, 9 of these guys, and they were hiding in a loft of a barn, and there was an entire Union company looking for them in that area.
Wow.
And there were 100 troops and 100 Union soldiers. And when they caught wind that they were approaching the barn, this dude, who was only like 5'4", John Mosby, he jumped out of the loft onto his horse. His other guys mounted up. They went charging out of the barn. He had 2 pistols in his hands. They fought this entire company of Union soldiers, killed, captured, and or wounded 98 of them. The other 2 skedaddled back to camp. 9 guys.
Yeah.
These guys were complete badasses, and so
Yeah.
I think that's another reason you see this migration from the Napoleonic style warfare they were using at the beginning of the Civil War, and it evolved into a trench warfare.
Yeah. Okay.
Because of the deadly accuracy of the rifled musket, of course. But
Yeah.
you start looking into those whole things, and of course you got the Indians. It reminds me of this old Bill Cosby routine. It was back when he was making comedy records, and he said, "Could you imagine if they did wars like the coin toss at a football game?" Right? And he's like, he says, "General Washington, this is General Cornwallis. General Cornwallis, this is General Washington. Call the toss." And he calls it. It says, "General Washington called heads. He got heads. He said, you guys got to dress in bright red coats with a white X on the front, while his guys get to dress up like bushes and barrels and trees and hide anywhere they want to. Go play ball."
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I would love to have you as a speaker, because it's really interesting. Like, you could read the textbooks and everything. They're so boring, guys.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when you read stories like this, like if you're telling a story, you can hear a pin drop in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a lost thing with teaching, and so I'm pretty passionate about it. I do love it. So
I was a Confederate Civil War reenactor for a number of years.
Oh, that's cool.
I was used as an extra, as were many reenactors. It was awesome. Ted Turner knew what he was doing for the movie Gettysburg.
Okay, yeah, that's
And I mean, what a great group of people to have extras. They have their own costumes. Everything's authentic.
Yeah.
And they're sticklers for detail to stay within the period and everything like that. Oh, yeah, we had a blast with that shit. It was great because we had, like ground charges and shit going off, and a couple of us got to actually fly on a springboard like he got blowed up and shit. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Flat, I always feel sorry for Flat, because I found out he's 9 hours ahead of me. I'm like, wow, I can't believe, dude, how do you do this?
I'm in the future, man.
Yeah, are you in the future? Yeah. Like the stars.
Our future's looking rough, man. We got Arctic shit coming in here tonight. I mean, really bad. It started snowing. It's collecting up on everything, and we got this weather alert come up and said that extended period of temperatures up to 30 degrees below normal. Very cold wind chills of 0 to 15 degrees below zero, and it's right here where I live.
Charles, Conspiracy Cat says, "Does the pastor believe he understands science?"
Say that again?
Does the pastor believe he understands science? That's by Conspiracy Cats, because he's a science teacher. I was asking, do you believe he understands science?
I believe I understand science. I also understand the difference between theories and tested observable science. And like speed, acceleration. There's some really good physics education you can learn, but the theory stuff and the way you teach it is I don't agree with. Yeah.
Well, the thing is too is that like I've said before, they keep trying to put things into the realm of science that have no place in the realm of science. And I think it was you think or somebody. Oh, light before the tunnel. Isn't that the guy's channel? I believe it is. And he brought up a really good point. He said these celestial bodies, we don't even know what they are. So they don't have any place really in physical science. They're more adept to the metaphysical. That's in the heavens. That's in the realm of God. It's not within the realm of man's science. And the best we can do is just look at these lights in the sky and speculate as to what they are.
Yeah.
And where they actually are. And there again, it's like chasing a rainbow. It seems to be that once we get to a certain altitude, you just don't see them anymore. They're just gone.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Yeah, I Conspiracy Cats. I love the subject of science. I love the fact that you can discover and see things. You know what I'm saying? I hope you understand that. And I'm very those are the two subjects I actually can teach for, but those are the two that I would prefer to teach. But I've changed over the years. That I've learned so much science from Flatzoid, from Witsit, from you. I've learned more science than I ever did in any kind of academic institution. Because what you do is when you say things and you ask Socratic questions, then that puts a seed of me to go look at it and go search it out myself. Because you'd be surprised how many times people say gravity's not a theory, it's a fact. But then when you actually look it up, it says it's a theory. You're like, what? That's kind of weird. And then, like water on a, trillions of gallons of water on a ball. I can't, my senses do not understand that. I can't comprehend. How can that work? But I take a tennis ball and I fill it with water and I throw it and just watch the water just exit it. And I'm at the ground. So shouldn't that be strongest at the level of the ground, So anyway, you guys have always, like, all the flat earthers have given me like good seeds of like learning and discovering and thinking for myself. I mean, it's one of the great, it should be a subject in school. Unfortunately, it's not.
Would you like to, I just want to ask, would you like Conspiracy Cat to come on and have a discussion with him sometime, Charles?
Sure. I'd love to.
Shots. Yeah.
I love talking about that. Yeah, I love talking about that.
So Cats, hit me up and then I can organize a Charles and we can have a discussion, and I think it'll be great.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I love any of that. So I appreciate you guys always, that's why I was appreciative of Flatzoid, because in the early discovery last 2 years, April, I was just blown away. I was watching those debates and I was learning so much. I was like, wow, this is fascinating. And I drive my wife crazy, because she's like, but she sees it too, oh, that makes sense. I was showing her the AE map, and I was showing her, like, I told her, Flatzoid, it's summer in his, and she's like, you really? Yeah. And so it kind of opened up. So I have the AE map. So look, the sun is in the trajectory of right over South Africa. And it just makes sense. The way the map looks makes sense. It's a clock. It's beautiful. It's, and so it's got to be created. It's got to be. It's designed perfectly.
Sorry to be rude, guys, but we're gonna have to end it here.
I hear you, bro.
You're not being rude. I'm being rude to you up, man. I'm sorry.
But tomorrow night we're gonna be on again. I'm still waiting with Nachikita. We were most probably gonna have tomorrow, but he's got something on, so it might be Friday. So tomorrow night, I was thinking we can maybe do look over that debate between Matthew Hakim and FTFE, because it's not about what was presented. It was more about how the behavior of FTFE was.
Wow.
That I want to point out.
Well, what did he do?
You'll see.
Right.
He was Craig, let's put it that way, but he was more than usual.
It's got to leave the hook.
Yeah, and I think Matthew did a great job, because it is still about the TFE again. But it was a good debate from Matthew.
Yeah. That'll be good.
But, so I was thinking of doing that tomorrow night. But if something else comes up, we'll probably
Anybody
do that. Otherwise,
FTFE, it's a good debate with them, because I just could not sit there and debate with them. Like, I'm plastic, but I just lose it. No.
Otherwise, I'm going to be emailing Mr. Not a Professor Dave again and saying, hey, since you're calling us out, here's your chance. So we'll see what happens.
It's hard to.
Yeah, he's
so toxic. He's really toxic. It's really hard to listen to these guys sometimes, but
nah. But we have to.
Yep, you have to, because the people that are listening need to hear what we have to say.
Exactly.
Through all that noise, there's people that are like, wait a minute, and they're seeing their behavior and they're starting to.
I've literally heard people say that June and Craig have actually pushed them toward flat Earth.
I believe it.
Yeah, I've heard it a lot. A lot of people have said that.
But
with
it's
me
not
believing the
about
globe,
you're not trying to convince
the same thing. Yeah. I thought the same thing. too. I was like, wow, their behavior is really tough. I mean, the flat Earth guy.
I mean, he's not the
much more
person
nicer. He's
you're
more
debating.
casual. Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to say thanks, guys, all for coming. Make sure to catch Solve just now with his show, and PJ is also going to have a show tomorrow afternoon, I think.
Tomorrow, 2
So
p.m.
make sure to
GMT.
catch them all.
Just put links in there.
Awesome. Solve, you should also stick your link in for them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then appreciate you all coming. Thanks for having a chat with Mike as well. I think it was interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
But all we know is globies can't get over their cognitive dissonance. That's for sure. Thank you very much for coming, guys. Many blessings. Hit the likes if you haven't already. Share the show, and we'll see you all tomorrow night.
All right.
Blessings.
Blessings.
May the pressure be with you.
Yes.
Bye.
Crafted signs of the divine. I'm made for something true. In God's plan, my path renews. Flat Earth, made by Him, my journey.